at their home on Flower Street, July 13th, 2023. And his lawyers say he was hearing voices because of his meds for schizophrenia when that happened. Some of the tenants expected to occupy the new City Lights Mall when it opens next year are Sprouts, Boot Barn, Ross, Ulta, Skechers, Marshall, Burlington, PetSmart, Hobby Lobby, Bed Bath & Body Works, and Tilly's Five Below, reports KGE. That mall is supposed to replace the East Hills Mall. It's now well over $5, and that is the highest in the country by far. That's California's average price for gas, now at $5.13 for a gallon of regular, says Gas Buddy. Our closest rival in that is Washington, where the average is $4.59. The cheapest in the entire state is at a station on Union Avenue in Bakersfield, which is selling it for $3.69. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get a post like this. But a bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody. And it's 2:05. And a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing. For those subscribing on YouTube, it's the Ralph Bailey Show. On a Monday, 9th day of March, as we have sprung into spring. It is a gorgeous blue sky Monday. A busy TRBS. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, our good friend Greg Kerr, sports director at KBAK and host of the Greg Kerr Show, right down the hallway from noon to 2 on ESPN 1230. The Raiders made the second greatest mistake of the season, and now Raider fans are holding their breath, hoping we don't make the biggest mistake of the season. We'll talk about that with Mr. Kerr at the bottom of the hour. It's a Monday, so Kathy Abernathy will join us at 4 o'clock. We'll talk about talk of the draft. Say what? And other things related to the Iranian war. The record of California is starting to rear its ugly head into Gavin Newsom's presidential bid, and we'll kind of chronicle that for you. And a dramatic end to the LA Marathon, which I'm not talking about the ending. I'm talking what led to the ending. You know what I'm talking about, Chris Burdick? You're the sports guy.
I have not seen this, no.
Yeah, it's crazy. The ending was crazy, but now the facts that we find out what led up to the ending are. And Jesse Jackson Jr., and he's angry at another black named Barack Hussein Obama. I don't know if you guys have heard Jr.'s rant about the three former presidents who he said in his over-the-top, hyperbolic, my daddy used to be a reverend, so I'm going to try this. 3 men who didn't even know Jesse Jackson. I'm like, would you stop? And what you need to remember, which people my age probably don't, Jesse Jackson Jr. was a meteoric rising Congress member from Illinois out of his father's district and just becoming out of the shadow, the incredible shadow that must have loomed over him his entire life. He is the Black JFK Jr., really, because none of the Kings. I've told you about my relationship with Dexter King. He was a DJ at Morehouse College, Dr. King's son. And Martin III was still kind of an overweight, balding guy who couldn't get elected dog catcher. But Jesse had a meteoric rise in Congress, easily elected, reelected. And then he went to jail. No, excuse me, I'm wrong. I beg your pardon. He went to prison. And guess whose Department of Justice put him in prison? Barack Hussein Obama. So he was not happy with what I pointed out on Friday, and that was, can't we even just get this thing started? We can't even get this thing started without people. Just getting started. Just go play music. Go play music. Go watch television. Just getting things started. So he had some harsh words for Barack and Biden. As I told you on Friday, I was amazed at how they politicized this thing, how they all talked about their careers and how their careers intersected with Jesse and blah, blah, blah. And now we know why I pointed out, now we know why Michelle Obama didn't show up, because there's no love lost between the Jackson family. And that's a peculiar position to put Obama in. And it's one question that I've always asked liberal Democrats, what exactly did Barack Obama do for black folks? Because you can make a really strong argument, look, the president can do whatever he wants. And the president could have easily interceded in Jackson's favor. And isn't that what presidents do, really, at the end of the day, as unethical as it may be? And you all are screaming at your radio, no, Ralph, that's not what presidents do. Really? Really? That's not what Trump does? Pardoning people that invaded the United States House of Representatives? That's not what presidents do? And this is our one African-American president. You got 8 years. You couldn't have stepped in. I'm not saying he should have, because there was the other obligation that he had, and that was, I can't be the black president. I've got to be the American president. I can't be doing solids for my brothers. But really? You can't? I don't know. You'll hear from Mr. Jackson. But we begin, of course, with the war. What else? And we probably will be for the coming days. Oil prices now. And this is really the tragic flaw of this entire operation, Epic Fury, is that the price of gas, the price of oil is just going to continue to go up. At one point today, it was up to $119. It fell back to $100. And the Dow Jones, excuse me, on my rundown that started at about 7:30, 8 o'clock, read oil prices jump over $119, 16% increase, S&P 500 and major stocks drop. Well, that was at 7:30, 8 o'clock this morning. By 2 o'clock, when I left the house, the Dow had rebounded and, in fact, went up. It closed at 239.25. And it just goes to show you, and I almost called in Daniel Petrie, we'll talk with him on Thursday, how incredibly sensitive the stock market is to headline and just any type of headline, because the headline changed throughout the morning, where the president simply said that he thought that the war was almost completely over, or his direct words were, I don't have where I have the quote somewhere, very completed or something to that effect. And do you know the Dow Jones absolutely switched gears and went in the other direction? It's that just kind of simple manipulation. And further, the president has also talked about taking over the Strait of Hormuz, because that's the issue. Traffic through the Hormuz is like 24th Street on a Sunday morning at 4 o'clock. Believe me, I've seen it. It's vacant. And that's what the Hormuz looks like right now. And companies aren't insuring oil companies coming out of there, because they're going to come under the attack of the Iranians. And there are some generals who are insisting that this may be one of Trump's most brilliant ideas, to take over Hormuz. I think it also shows that there still is no plan. There still is no exit. There still is no address from the president of the United States. And I think at this point, he almost has to do this, because now we are committed. We are absolutely 100,000% committed. And now they're talking about a draft. The fact that that word was even mentioned is crazy. CNN is running with it. It got brought up in that ridiculous woman, Maria Bartolona, whatever her name is, the financial woman who does politics. Crazy as a bedbug, if you ask me. But she brought this up with Carolyn Levitt. And Levitt was like, well, we're not going to take anything off the table, which, of course, is the almost mandatory position to take. You don't take anything off the table. You don't tell your opponents, we're never going to put boots on the ground. But we're coming dangerously close. There was discussions over the weekend of perhaps just small paramilitary groups to go in. I thought this was going to be Israel's job. I thought they had the intelligence and the manpower to do these things. But now the discussion is the fact that they even brought up the draft, that would destroy this nation. Going back, do you know what the draft is? Do you know what the draft looks like? I've seen videos of it. I was a little boy, like literally 67, 68. I'm 4 or 5 years old, but it's like a bingo game where they have balls like the NBA lottery. And every man has to go to a selective service like I did when I was 18, and they have your number. And if your number comes up, you are expected to report to either the United States Army, the military, the Navy, the Air Force, Coast Guard, wherever you got drafted. That would set this country on fire, as it did in the 1960s. Kids would be running to Canada. Kids would be calling their congressman to get out of it, claiming they have bone spurs, as the president insisted when he was a young man. This would absolutely destroy this country. And it boggles the mind that they would even use the D word at this point. It just is absolutely crazy. Let's go ahead and take our first break of the day. Mr. Kerr is about to join us in just a couple of minutes. When we come back, we'll tell you about the new Ayatollah. Ayatollah, I was wrong. I'll tell you about this man who is the son of Khomeini, and some say perhaps worse, as has been the history of Iran since the Shah left in 1979. You will hear from Jesse Jackson talking about the 3 presidents who didn't know his father and how poorly they handled his funeral. Kathy Abernathy at 4 o'clock. We'll highlight the record of Gavin Newsom. And we'll talk a little sports in the 5. The dramatic ending of the LA Marathon may have a wrinkle that you're not aware of. You've probably seen the video on KTLA of the incredible finish. Man by the name of Nathan Martin coming from way behind, but there's a twist and turn, literally. I'll explain in the 5. And Travis Kelce makes up his mind whether he's going to run off with his billionaire girlfriend or return to the Chiefs. And the Chiefs add another weapon in the backfield. I cannot believe they got this guy. And the PGA had a dramatic ending down at Arnie's Place, a golf course, Bay Hill, that I actually played once in the early 90s. Do you know Tiger Woods has won that tournament 8 times? Oh, I blew the whole bit. I was going to ask you how many times he thought he won it. I blew the whole bit. Well, and then I was going to follow up after Chris guessed 17, because he always blows the bit and goes over. But after he said 17, I was going to say, no, 8. And did you know that Tiger Woods won 2 other tournaments 8 times? That's 3 tournaments, 24 wins. And I'd be willing to bet that 75% of the tour doesn't win 24 times. And yet Tiger did it in 3 different tournaments. I've got some other stats I'm going to share with you when we get to the back half of this broadcast in the 5, when it will still be light. For somehow you can sneak in 9 holes after 5 o'clock. We're just getting started on a Monday, our first Monday under the new daylight. And just 2 weeks now, 2 weeks away from the 4th annual Honor Flight Open. 2 weeks from this Monday, we'll be out at Bakersfield Country Club. Hope you'll join us. This obviously goes to benefit our veterans who travel back to Washington as part of Honor Flight. Get to see their memorials. They're feted and honored and applauded everywhere they go. There are surprises for these men and women, and they all come back and say, It was a trip of a lifetime. You can help them get there by simply playing a round of golf with us. Come on out. It's 2 weeks from this Monday. Quick time out. Coming right back. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
Are you serious right now? You certainly don't go by first lady. You choose first partner. You're going to talk to us about protecting women? You want to talk about protecting women? Let's start with our girls right here in the state of California and protecting them in sports. You want us to ask questions about women and protecting women? How about that question?
Weekdays at 2 p.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
As regular listeners know, I had reason to celebrate this weekend. So, of course, you know where I headed, about 150 yards from my house, the KC Steakhouse, where I had the blackened cod. It was outstanding. I really had all intentions to go all out and get prime rib and a baked potato and just go nuts. And then I heard the echo of Dr. Jeet Singh over my shoulder. And it was right there. It was one of the specials on the board because that's what I talk about constantly. Not everybody who wants to go to KC Steakhouse because of the ambiance, because of big parties, etc., necessarily aren't feeling red meat. But Cassie has handled that. Chef Daniel has advanced the menu where I've talked about not only the blackened cod, but mahi-mahi, halibut, which I love, swordfish, the chicken dishes, pasta, the lobster mac and cheese. Are you kidding me? The variety is incredible. Head down to KC Steakhouse. Tell them that Ralph Bailey told you all about it. Where would you rather be than on F Street in the capable hands of Cassie Biddle's incredible staff? At KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Carpet Outlet Plus is celebrating 30 years in business by offering you no interest financing for 12 months. Head over to carpetoutletplus.com to apply now. You can get new waterproof flooring and comfy carpet in the bedrooms, all from one trusted place. Over 70,000 customers can't be wrong. It's probably been time to change your floors for a while, so call, click, or stop by today. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Are you looking for a hospital that truly cares for your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan Hospital, they provide high-quality medical detox, psychiatric services, and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest-standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis that combines medical care and withdrawal management all under one roof. Learn more at GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
Trucordia, a new name, but a trusted partner for Kern County businesses. At Trucordia, we provide business solutions that include comprehensive commercial insurance and proactive risk strategies to help protect your company and keep operations running smoothly. We also offer benefit solutions with flexible options for both businesses and individuals, supported by easy online tools and hands-on local service that makes everything simpler. For guidance you can count on, call Don Coons at 661-401-2280. Trucordia, building trust.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Eight four two 842 KERN. Here's something funny that happened on the Bill Maher show. I strongly suggest you watch this guy. He's the only, I don't think he considers himself, he has to be considered a liberal. I don't know if he considers himself a Democrat, but he caught Adam Schiff. He caught Adam Schiff in a very awkward moment. And Schiff tried to respond and just was thrown off his pegs and had to scramble for a ridiculous answer. Check this out.
This statement from the administration: the president had the constitutional authority to direct the use of military force because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest. That's too vague for you?
Totally vague.
Okay, because that's from Obama about Libya.
Well, Obama made the argument initially that he could go into Syria without an authorization. I and many others pushed back on that argument. Ultimately, he did not go forward with going after Assad, even though Assad was gassing his own people, because he thought he might lose the vote in Congress.
Yeah, but he did go into Libya, and he did bomb people, and he did bomb innocent citizens. And that was brilliant of Bill Maher, because Schiff, of course, like probably most of you, thought he was quoting Donald Trump, when in fact he was quoting Barack Obama. So the hypocrisy of the War Powers Act, like I said for days, like I've argued with Teresa Golden, who'll be with us here tomorrow, is ridiculous. It was enacted in 1973. Nixon tried to veto it, and every president ever since has absolutely ignored it. Every single president. So that argument is dead. And the hypocrisy among the Democrats is ridiculous and was absolutely manifested right there. The other problem that the president now has is the fact that we most likely hit a school, an Iranian school, near one of our military targets. And of course, your boy, Mr. Fox and Friends weekend guy, is ahead of the Pentagon. And instead of doing the right thing, because what you have to do in war is be transparent. You cannot fool international journalists. And if you try to lie about striking a school instead of saying mea culpa, it happens. That's the ugliness of war. William Tecumseh Sherman said it in the 19th century. War is hell. We are in war. Are innocent people going to die? You betcha. That's it. That's the reality. But if you try to lie about that, if you try to cover that up, now you've created a whole nother issue. It is the single greatest thesis of this broadcast. If it's the one thing that any of you listen to me, trust me on this, it is never, ever the error you make, because if it was, we would all be screwed. We'd be all out of jobs. We'd all be single without our wives and our husbands. It's how you handle the error, which makes your character, defines who you are, and can get you out of scrapes. But if you try to obfuscate, if you try to point a finger at somebody else, if you're unwilling to take responsibility, and what we've now turned as own it, you get caught with your pants down, and this is what this administration is walking into. Heggs was on 60 Minutes last night and is claiming after 10 days that we're still investigating it. We're still investigating whether that was our bomb, or as the president said on Air Force One, it was an Iranian bomb that killed those children. Now that's a possibility. You're talking about a regime that has killed tens of thousands of its own people. But if you're going to say that, you better make sure you're right. You better make sure you don't have to back that up and say, no, actually, it was us. Because let me tell you something, Pete, Secretary of War, you better investigate this, because guess what? The Washington Post will, the New York Times will, the LA Times will, Reuters will, the Associated Press will. Every news organization on the planet will examine this, and they'll get to the bottom of it. You've already got a gas problem. You've got an affordability problem. Now the death toll is up to 7. You've got a body count problem that can only get worse. And if transparency is added to the list and the administration is caught lying, this thing is going to be a disaster, no matter how it ends. Now you've given them something to fight about, even if it's successful. Even if we leave tomorrow and say, it's done. We've devastated the Navy, we've owned the airspace, we're going to take over the Hormuz, it's over. What about that bomb? What about this 10-day investigation? And you know where they're going to go. That's why I'm giving this heads up. You know the State Department is going to take responsibility for this. At least that's my guess. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Pete Hegseth shows some character that I didn't think he possesses. I don't think he possesses. I just don't. And you think Trump wants to admit it? He's already put it on the Iranians. You really think if Hegseth finds out that it's us, that he's got the balls to go to the White House and say that it was? I hope so. I certainly hope so. If in fact it was us. We twist gears just a skosh, talk a little sports. We'll talk Max Crosby, etc. with Greg Kerr.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump had a call with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss the war in Iran and other issues. According to the Kremlin, Monday's frank and businesslike conversation lasted about an hour. Iran has launched more attacks on Israel and Gulf countries, while heavy U.S. and Israeli bombardment has been going on for more than a week. Taking a look at other news today, a New Jersey man has pleaded guilty to charges that he brought dozens of homemade explosive devices to a Washington, D.C. church that was preparing for an annual mass celebrating the start of the Supreme Court's term. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 239 points, the Nasdaq rose 308, the S&P advanced 56. This is SRN News.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You may remember the child abuse death of 3-year-old Alejandro Perez Jr., February 9th, 2024, in Oildale. Now, the woman accused in that death, scheduled to go on trial this month, will instead have a hearing set for early June, with a trial possibly beginning June 15th. If you have or operate a business downtown, you're being asked to come by City Hall tomorrow, the City Council chambers, between 2 and 3 p.m. for a meeting about some downtown water projects planned that could affect your business. Both Caltrans and the city say they are looking at ways to minimize the impact. Gas is at $5.13 on average for a gallon of regular in California, says Gas Buddy. $3.69 at a station on Union Avenue, which is the cheapest in the state. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Ready to free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business empowers leaders with smart business buying tools, leaving time to focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future at AmazonBusiness.com.
Even if you've given up on your New Year's resolutions, one health habit that's easy to keep is Active Liver from New Nordic. Active Liver protects your liver so you can enjoy life to the fullest. Online at Amazon, in stores at CVS, Walgreens, and now GNC.
Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
No way. On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, oil is officially spendy. Gas prices are up. We'll get into all of that. Lois Henry will join us to talk about water issues. We will have state-of-the-art news, traffic, and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1. Streaming live on the internet, KernRadio.com.
She should have had the
First
baby
Look
by
with
now.
Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Little Neil Sedano just recently passed away. Hold the music. Hold the music. Did I tell you? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Did I tell you? Hold the music. Pay attention to the music today. Musica, musica. Hold the music. The great late Neil Sedaka. Isn't this pleasant? How could you not like this? You kidding me? Come on, everybody sing. Walking hand in hand with the one I love.
Yeah, that also reminds me. First song on that list you sent.
Yeah.
Who is that?
I don't know. Unstoppable. The Olympic song that they play for every Olympic winner.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, then you picked the wrong artist because the artist that you picked is some kid that like
That has nothing to do with it.
like I don't even know what it was. Like it was like Olivia Genesis or something like that. It was like that's not the original song. I figured you meant the one by Sia or Sia or whatever her name is.
I don't know.
SIA is her.
I can play it for you. I got it on my.
I know exactly which one you're talking about now. I looked up the original one or the one you wrote down. And I was like, "There's no way this is the one he meant. This is like Kids Bob." Like,
I told you how I do it. There's a little paper laying next to me, and I just get up.
Did you watch Shazam it? And it came up that name. Is that what happened?
No, I saw it was a highlight film on the skater.
Got you
on the skater.
Got
Judah, what's his name's girlfriend, fiance?
Yeah. I was hearing it.
Yeah, that's how I found. What was the other one?
The Lizzo song? You love it?
No, the other one. The other one. Little
Boo thing.
Yeah, that's how I found that.
Lord,
it was a.
I was wondering what that was too. I don't know if I know this one.
I didn't know it either. I didn't know the title. I didn't give you an artist. I couldn't name the artist.
It just says Little Boo thing. I wish I could show the listeners that. But
do we have Mr. Kerr? Like I said, the Raiders made the second worst move they possibly could have made. And now we're holding our breath, praying they don't make the first. And joining us to talk about is KBAK news director, and he does a radio show now all from 12 to 2 on ESPN 1230. Our good friend Greg Kerr. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I got you on speaker for about 40 seconds because I'm pulling up to BCHS, so my apologies for that.
That's all right. That's all right. I understand. Who are you interviewing today?
Basketball, just coaches and players. They get ready for tomorrow's game.
All right. Very good. So, your thoughts on Max and Baltimore and the draft pick we got? I get the 14th along with the first.
I want to hear what was the worst decision they made if this is the second worst.
Well, that there's rumors that they might not take Mendoza.
Oh, okay.
They're still flirting out there. I'm still scared to death. I'm holding my breath.
Yeah. That's, what else are the talking heads going to have to talk about if they're talking about that?
True that. But did they make a solid move? I mean, was this a matter of Max telling them I'm not coming back?
Okay, I honestly can't answer that, although I have a regular on my show from the Las Vegas Sun who's coming on tomorrow, so I'll ask him.
Okay. Okay.
But I got a friend who wants to know, so I will ask him. But look, if you have to trade him, if maybe I don't want to say your hands are tied, but if you felt like, okay, this is not going anywhere, we got to make a deal, they absolutely should have gotten more. 100% should have gotten more. Dallas got more for Mike Parsons.
Yep.
They got 2 draft picks and a player. And furthermore, it all sounds good, Ralph, when you say, hey, they got 2 first-round draft picks. Until you then say, oh, wait a second, that's the 14th pick overall. That's okay, I guess. And then next year's pick is going to be in the 20s, mid-20s, and if the Ravens go really deep, in the 30s. How good is that?
Right.
That's not a great pick.
No, it's not.
And you're also trading a guy that is got the best motor in football, never takes a day off or a playoff, and suddenly there you go. What do you have? Yes, I'm doing okay. What's going on? Thank you. I'm actually doing a radio interview, but that's okay. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Sorry about that, Ralph.
That's all right. I understand. And also, you can't really quantify what you're losing in the facility and in the locker room.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And there, now I'm not on speaker anymore. Anyway, absolutely. That's 100% that too. Raheem Mostert, I heard a quote from him yesterday. He played for the Raiders for a minute, he played the Niners and Dolphins and all that. He says, the best player I've ever played with was Max Crosby.
Yeah.
And he didn't even play on the same side of the ball.
Right.
He's just going, this is the best football player I've ever seen.
Yeah. Never quits.
And look, I know they're stockpiling picks and they got some compensation picks as well. If they draft well, it's going to look pretty good. But I just don't. The 14th pick, man, that better be an awesome pick to give up for Max Crosby.
And it's the second time within the most recent organization that we've left a very one of the best linemen in football to leave our facility. And Khalil Mack, and now this guy.
Yeah,
just doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Again, when you rebuild, you better get a lot of pieces to replace that one person you're trading for.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not expecting you to go get, 5 or 6 draft picks, but I am expecting you to get more than 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
For a guy, and by the way, that plays at a position that is part of winning in football. You either protect the quarterback or get to the quarterback.
Yep.
And that's a get to the quarterback guy. And I looked up some numbers for the Ravens. They were 28th in quarterback sacks last year. That's a franchise that knows their weakness, and they went out and fixed it. Just like the Rams are fixing their secondary, just like the Chiefs are fixing the run game. 3 franchises that say, we need help here, we're going to go get it.
Yeah.
That's smart. That's smart football.
Yeah. So I'm assuming then that you are totally throwing out any opportunity for the Raiders to not draft Mendoza number 1?
Well, I think it's silly if they don't, but I say silly just from the standpoint of, the eye test and what their needs are. I mean, what are they going to do otherwise?
Yeah.
Please don't get Kyler Murray. I'm not a fan.
No.
And who's left? Of the veterans out there. Tua just signed. I wouldn't take him anyway. But my point is there's no other real good option. Take this guy. He seems like he's a really good, not that I need a good kid, but he seems like he's got his head on straight, that I watched him throw the ball on TV only, but I like the way he throws the ball.
Yeah.
And he's a gamer. He's a gamer.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's going to be like Andrew Luck and walk out there and start winning games right away. But I do think they're going to get a good player. I do. So I would take him.
And
I would take him in a minute.
We don't need a superstar at that position. We really don't. We just need somebody who's efficient, who's not going to turn the ball over to the other team.
Yeah.
Who can get the ball to our tight end, who can hand the ball off to Genty. And I think we did a nice job in signing. What do you think of signing Tyler Linderbaum? I think they spent too much money, but I think that's a great pickup.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely an area of need is their offensive line. So they got a great center there. They did pay a pretty penny, but good for them for being aggressive.
Right.
And that's similar to the moves I was talking about. Know your weakness, go out and fix it. And that's obviously something they need to do on the offensive line. But the problem is the difference between the Ravens, the Rams, the Chiefs, and the Raiders is those other 3 teams don't have multiple holes.
Right.
The Raiders have multiple holes.
Yeah.
So even if Mendoza comes on board, has a decent season, but they finish last in the division, that's just because it's the first step. They have to build and keep building and get better. So I don't know how you would define success next year for the Raiders, but it's just hopefully doesn't look anything like this year.
Well, as a Raider fan, I would say anything over 500 or around 500, 9-8, I would be very happy.
Yeah,
I would be very happy.
9-8 might get you coach of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the signing of Jalen Naylor? 3-year deal, $35 million with 23 of it guaranteed.
I'm going to sound nerdy as all get out, and anybody who plays fantasy football will probably do the same thing. I don't really remember him having a lot of great games and/or years, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me either.
He always seemed to be like a second or third receiver every year. So I think it's just filler more than anything else. I think it's depth. I don't think it's not a number 1 receiver. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
So
and we still don't.
The price speaks to that too. He's not a number 1.
Yeah, we don't have a number 1. Do we? Our tight end is our number 1, and that doesn't work.
Right. And so what they really need to do or needed to do before some of them went off the board is go get somebody who is the number one. You know, you notice that Evans went to the 49ers. You notice, even though I never really thought Pierce was like the be all end all, but he got a ton of money just to stay with the Colts. And I'm forgetting somebody else. There's another receiver that went some there. It was a pretty big name. But yeah, they need to either draft a wide receiver and or go get somebody that's a little bigger than what they have.
Yeah.
Because they are tight end heavy, you know.
Would you sign
somebody? I'll tell you a guy, Rashid Shaheed. Go get him, stretch the field.
Yeah.
You know, something like that.
What about Stephon Diggs? What about Stephon Diggs? Would you bring him in?
No. He's got a little baggage off the field, and I would stay away. He's 33, and he's you know, he had a nice year last year. He had 1,000 yards, but I just wouldn't. I wouldn't go there.
Yeah. I'll leave you with this. I know you're busy. Want to get to your interview. If Travis Kelce isn't Travis Kelce, and you know what I mean by that, if he didn't have the podcast, if he wasn't dating probably the most popular woman on the planet, billionaire, would they have really re-signed him?
It's 1 year, $12 million. So I think, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, 1 year, $12 million. Yeah, that's tip money.
Just because Patrick wants him back and he's good for the locker room?
Well, chemistry and just all of that. I think, you know, I'm not saying that everybody would have gotten that treatment, but I think that, you know, I don't think he's a bum by any
No, not at all.
year, but so did all the Chiefs.
Yeah,
So,
I think his 76 receptions were overrated because I think a lot of them were like 4 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards.
Yeah.
He's not making the 25-yard sprints and runs he used to.
No, but I'll tell you what, if they improve their O-line and they've got Kenneth Walker in their backfield now, maybe they open up a few things that get it going. I don't know. I mean, look, he's not the Travis Kelce of 3, 4, 5 years ago. We all know that. But he's not going to, I don't think he's going to embarrass himself.
No.
You know.
No, he's not going to do a Joe Namath. No, he's still.
So 1 year, 12 million, you know, I think that's fair for both parties, to be honest with you.
All right, sir.
It would be weird to see him do a Namath or a Unitas and put on somebody else's uniform. That'd be really weird.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. All right, man. Go do what you do. Always great to talk to you. Appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, you as well, man. Take care, Ralph.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Greg Kerr. Check him out tomorrow from noon to 2 on our sister station, ESPN 1230. And as I always mentioned, I understand that he does television on KBAK, Channel 29. Quick timeout. Head toward the top of the hour. Kathy Abernathy will join us. We'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. The Jackson family, not extremely happy with the way their father's funeral went. Naming Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Bill Clinton for those who took their eyes off the prize. See what I did there? That's a synonym for the civil rights movement. And forget it. Quick timeout. We're coming right back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1.
Messmaker.
ERN.
Tuesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We will break down the ongoing battles in Iran. What should we anticipate? Plus, we'll begin to pivot our attention to North Carolina, where Michael Watley will join us to talk about the big Senate race there. Plus,
take a look at what the White House has in store for us on the economy. Some big moves in the future. We'll talk about it on Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Hope you're with us on Thursday when Daniel Petrie from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors joins us, as he does every week. And we'll focus on, can the Trump administration sustain the rising oil prices? As I mentioned today, oil jumped to one point at $119 a barrel, finally settled at about $100. But that means that the national average has gone up to $3.48 a gallon. That's the wonders of having our money man every Thursday who can explain what's going to happen, how it impacts you, what's going on inside the Beltway, and how that impacts the economy as well. And again, at the bottom line, the end of the day, you know what Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are all about. They're all about retirement, If it's facing you, call him today at 395-9400, 395-9400, or just tune in on Thursdays at 4:30 when Daniel Petrie joins us from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future, option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrie or MPWA DBA Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available to us at the time, and we are under no obligation to update our views.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
There's no championship league for small business owners, but if there was, you'd be at the top of the standings. Because going pro with Lenovo Pro means you've got the winning formation, one-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors help you stay ahead of the competition. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo. Last week, there was the Paul Sheldon sighting. Kind of rare and very exciting. Everyone asking, where has he been? Of course, his clients weren't worried about their Medicare, even when Paul in person wasn't there, because there's Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. The grandkids like to play, where's Waldo? Granddad's asking, hey, where'd Paul go? Just games that are fun to win. But when push comes to shove and the day is done, we know it's covered, so it's all in fun. Because there's Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. Over the years, so many have said it. The guy's a genius. Gotta give the man credit. He put it together way back then. Brought along those 3 Medicare pros, who of course by now everyone knows are Christine, Kelly, and Lynn.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Eight 842-5376, 842-KERN. Kathy Abinant's going to join us in just a couple of minutes. In the meantime, what do you got on the board?
I stopped my 18-year-old son from signing his military contract because he will not be going to war for Israel or the Orange Cheeto or until Trump's 20-year-old is on the front lines too.
Okay. What else you got? Thanks for sharing your family business with us. Thank you. What else you got?
Ralph, a good friend's brother and wife were stranded on a cruise ship out of Qatar, supposed to be like 6 months cruise. I don't know how many Americans. Do you know the status of that? We're really concerned. Thanks.
No idea, but later in the program, I was going to read a letter from my former producer, Nick Novak, who is in the State Department and was in Baghdad. And those of you who are truly engaged know that our embassy in Baghdad, where Nick was living, was bombed. And no one was injured. Nick is fine. And he just most recently entered on Facebook that he's back in the United States. Thank you, Jesus. But no, I hadn't heard about that. But we know that our good friend Charlie Wilmot, who we talked to on Friday, is in the United Arab Emirates. He's in Abu Dhabi and is scheduled, I believe he told us on Friday that he's scheduled to leave on the 13th of March, and that everything is on the hotel. They've even lowered some of the restrictions. They were quarantined in the hotel, he told us, for about 4 or 5 days when the conflict began, when Epic Fury began. But he's since been able, with his wife Mary, to get out of the hotel and get around Abu Dhabi. And again, he'll be there till the 13th, but apparently he's okay. So again, it gets back to my original criticism of Epic Fury, and that's how it was rolled out, not the mission itself. I've been saying for years that we should make a parking lot of Iran, and now we're committed to this thing, and I hope the president and Pete Hegseth, Department of Defense, goes through with this and absolutely obliterates these people. And you know, I think that we should go after the Ayatollah in a very subtle yet message-sending manner, that whoever steps up to the plate is going to be taken out. And I don't think anybody would be unhappy with that. This is war. They've come after our leader. We know that for a fact. There's intel that they came after President Trump. In fact, remember Trump made that superfluous quote, "I got him before he got me." But I think there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I just wish the president would tell us that and give us what that looks like, what that light at the end of the tunnel looks like. But, and again, as I mentioned at the top of the show, there has been a 7th casualty, and I will identify that when we get to that after we talk with Kathy. What else you got?
Ralph, at this point, Israel is not even a country. It is a U.S. military base, the largest one in the world. We should just make Israel a state. That way we could tax them to help us pay for those expensive weapons.
Well, thank God for Israel. You should thank God for Israel. Imagine the Middle East without Israel. For those of you who are so quick to dismiss Israel, because as I talked about going into this presidential campaign and how Gavin Newsom is dismissing Israel openly, that's like, it's kind of chic now for liberal Democrats to go after Israel. It's gone from a 72% approval rating in the Democratic Party to 46%. And Gavin Newsom thinks he can ride that wave and talk about Gaza and what a mistake that was and how this is Israel's war. And, you know, and Benjamin Netanyahu, quite frankly, isn't the most likable guy right now. He's eluding prison in his own country. A lot of people are attributing his love for this war to keep his ass out of jail. And I think you can't separate criticism of Benjamin Netanyahu and criticism of Israel at this point. Maybe under certain normal circumstances, you could. We're at war now. Do you understand that? This is not a military sliced objective, like with a scalpel where we're just going in from air. This is war. The President of the United States is talking about the draft. He's talking about boots on the ground. And the Secretary of Defense has even alluded to this as war. Congress won't, because that means they'd have to take a vote and their asses would be on the hook. They'd be on the record. That's the last thing any one of those 435 people want to be, is on the record, being held accountable for what they do for a living. But this is war. And it just amazes me that the left continues to almost root against this, as if you want it to fail, as if you want to see the body count go up, as if you want to see the RIGC continue to reign, continue to kill their own people, to continue to attack our own veterans. You know, I've got a whole list here. I've got a whole list, like a page long, literally a page long of offenses right there. That's not my rundown. That's a list of the offenses that I researched that these people have waged on us since 1979, where 66 people died at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. And then in 1983, a suicide car bomb and truck bomb in Beirut. Remember that? Killing our Marines. In 84, they killed a CIA staff chief, kidnapped him, then killed him in Beirut. In 84, the Hezbollah hijacked 2W Flight 847 This is just when I was in high school and college in the 80s. I could spend a whole other 10 minutes, and I think I might later on the broadcast, just chronicling what these people have done to us in the last 46 years and who these people are and how many presidents have sworn that we're going to stop this, that we're going to end this, that they can't have a nuclear weapon. It goes all the way back to Nixon. And finally, somebody has stood up and done something. And while it's controversial, it didn't roll out well, and young boys and girls are going to die, some of you act like you want it to fail. Somebody to embarrass Trump. And that's about as un-American as it gets.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the United States is well on our way to destroying Iran's ability to threaten its neighbors and the world with missiles.
This is a terrorist government. This is a terroristic regime. And we are seeing them conduct terrorism using nation-state elements, using weapons like missiles and one-way attack drones. And the objective of this mission is to destroy their ability to continue to do that. And we are well on our way to achieving that objective every single day with overwhelming force, with overwhelming precision.
Many admit in Congress they have mixed feelings, taking satisfaction in seeing vengeance taken on the leadership of an Iranian regime that has targeted U.S. service members for decades, yet fearful that another generation of soldiers could soon face combat experiences. Headed to the airport, plan ahead for potential delays as the government shutdown affecting the TSA stretches into week 6.
Long lines continue at airport security checkpoints in New Orleans and Houston. Travelers complained of waits over 3 hours, and airport officials are blaming it on staffing challenges as TSA agents work without pay due to the partial government shutdown. Jeff Freeman is the president and CEO of the U.S. Travel Association.
The people standing between our aviation system and those who would do it harm, they're showing up, they're doing their job, and they're not getting paid.
New Orleans International is telling travelers to expect a 2-hour wait. The Houston airports say travelers to Hobby should plan for a 4-hour wait. I'm Jennifer King.
A Virginia boater is suing D.C. Water, saying its negligence led to a massive sewage leak into the Potomac River. Good day on Wall Street with the Dow up by 239 points. The Nasdaq rose 308. The S&P advanced 56. More on these stories at townhall.com.
A Social Security update. 70 million Americans collect Social Security benefits today, and millions more will join soon. Now, a new study finds 70% of Americans don't get the full benefits they deserve. But recipients can use simple strategies to boost Social Security benefits by as much as $188,000 over a lifetime. Social Security expert Michael Allen says it's true and reveals 5 key strategies to increase your benefits. It's all in his free special report. Newsmax calls the report your best guide for bigger Social Security benefits. Whether you're getting benefits or soon will, you need the Social Security report. Get it free. Call 800-999-9690. 800-999-9690. We'll text it to you right away, along with President Trump's act cutting your Social Security taxes. Call now, 800-999-9690. 800-999-9690. Text and data rates may apply.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
The highest in the country by far. I'm Chris Davis. The average price for a gallon of regular gas in California is now at $5.13, says Gas Buddy. The cheapest you'll find it anywhere in California is right here in Bakersfield, where Station on Union has it for $3.69. Oregon is at $4.12. Nevada is at $4.18. Washington comes closest to California at $4.59 per gallon. If you've been waiting to see what that new mall, City Lights, that is replacing East Hills is going to be like, the company tells KGET it'll have these shops. Sprouts, Boot Barn, Ross, Ulta, Skechers, Marshalls, Burlington, PetSmart, Hobby Lobby, Bed Bath & Body Works, and Tilly's Five Below. Those are the ones so far. As for when it'll open, that is expected in just over a year. For people waiting to see justice for 3-year-old Alejandro Perez Jr. murdered February 9th, 2024 in Oildale, you will have to wait at least another 3 months, says the court. Late last week, they put the trial for Margaret Eichhorst off until at least June. The plan now is for a hearing in early June with the trial date possibly June 15th. She's facing charges that she abused Perez, and that is what caused his death. The medical examiner says it was blunt force trauma consistent with child abuse.
That's where I get most of my
Some
bites.
water projects are being planned for downtown Bakersfield that Cal Water and the city say will benefit you. And they are inviting you to a meeting about that Tuesday. That'll be from 2 to 3 p.m. at the city council chambers on Truxton. And they say they especially want people with businesses in the downtown area to learn about how they hope to minimize the impact on those businesses. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180. KERN.
Goes entirely too vague. We're good.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away?
And then
you gotta
Schiff
get a
was
post
like,
well,
push back on that.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Monday, 9th day of March. Still lots to do coming up about the hour. I'll tell you about the dust-up between the Jackson family. No, not Michael, Tito, Marlon, Jermaine, Janet. No. Jesse Jr., who is not happy with Joe Biden, Mr. Clinton, and namely Barack Obama. God, I wonder why he'd be upset with Barack Obama. It couldn't have anything to do with the fact that he was a rising congressman when Obama's Department of Justice prosecuted him and sent him to prison. Nah. I tried to tell you they politicized Jackson's funeral. I told you that on Friday, where it was amazing. And now we know why Michelle Obama gave the Jackson family her middle finger and was the only representative that didn't show up. 2 other first ladies showed up. Hillary showed up. Jill Biden showed up. Barack showed up. Michelle's like, I'm not getting in the car because she's from Chicago. I'm not getting in the car and going to Jesse Jackson's funeral. Are you going crazy? We'll talk about that. You'll hear from Jesse Jackson Jr. Yeah, he's been released from prison. But he's still got a chip on his shoulder, apparently. And you'll hear from Steve Hilton and Joe Rogan as they start to expose Gavin Newsom. And I think this could have some impact on our gubernatorial race, because as we'll talk about perhaps with our next guest, I'm telling you, the likelihood, or I shouldn't say the likelihood, the chances of 2 Republicans on top of the ticket in June is getting greater and greater. It really, really is. We'll talk about the dramatic ending of the LA Marathon, not the one you saw on television, but what led up to the dramatic comeback of a man by the name of Nathan Martin. And we'll end with a little sports, talk about Travis Kelce and Kenneth Walker the third, et cetera, et cetera. But it is a Monday.
Get your motor running.
Head out on my highway. Looking for adventure. Professor Kathy Abernathy. How are you, Professor?
Very good, Ralph. Now I want to know about that marathon, though, because I saw what happened.
The comeback by Nathan Martin.
And did the one that came in second, did he fall flat when he landed?
Right at the end, yeah.
That was him, not the other guy.
Michael Kamau. Kamau, Kamau. You want me to ruin it for you? Because maybe these folks won't be around at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Basically, what happens, not a lot, but you hear about it happening every now and again, he got diverted. He was coming down the stretch, and some woman, a fan of his, ran out on the course, and that diverted him where he made a wrong turn, and then he realized it, stopped, and came back. Now, I gotta believe that minor diversion had to mean the difference in a foot, because that's what he lost by. He lost by a foot.
Okay, that happened to the loser.
Yes, the guy that ended up second got diverted. He was leading. I'm going to win this thing. I'm going to win this thing. A crazy fan runs out. He turns the wrong way, and then he realizes, holy crap, I'm going the wrong way. And then he straightens out, and then he comes down that finish line, and Nathan Martin runs him down.
But that Nathan Martin shot like he was shot from a cannon.
I don't know
where'd that come from.
I have no idea. I thought there was going to be an investigation. I thought that was going to be like a Rosie Ruiz. You remember that?
Like someone drove him
100
over.
years ago, yeah. Where Rosie Ruiz, she ran like 2 miles of a marathon and came out as the winner. That's a classic.
If you ever hear of me in a marathon,
I
think it's brilliant.
And it comes 2 weeks 2 weeks before ours. So get ready for that.
Oh.
Where if you like me and you live downtown,
you're locked up.
You better have some food ready because there's no Ubers coming to you. You can't leave. You can't. It's
starting
crazy.
2 a.m. or midnight the night before.
Yes, it's
That's true.
nuts.
Westchester has that.
2 years in a row, I forgot about it. And one year I was trying to get to Mexicali. I had a dish on the tip of my lips. You know when you do that?
You remember a meal from 2 years ago.
I do. And because I had to walk all the way to Jastrow Park to meet my Uber. The Uber driver was like, I can't get anywhere near your joint. I go, well, where are you? He goes, I'm at Jastrow Park. It's about as far as deep as I can get into Westchester. I said, just stay there. I'll walk. And I walked, and then we went.
Well, you didn't go to Mexicali downtown.
Yes, because then we ended up. Then once I got to Jastrow Park and hooked up with my Uber, it took us another 20 minutes to get to Mexicali.
He was probably happy to give you a ride.
Yes,
because 10 miles.
We ended up going down F Street and then going back around and coming up Union and then trying to come up that route. It was crazy. So get ready for that.
Yeah.
Sunday. But unfortunately, that damn marathon is getting more and more popular every year.
And they come from all over. They're not just here. They really want to be in this marathon. Yeah, my daughter's in one of these run clubs this weekend. It was some women's thing. And so she was in that, and it was a long one. And I just wait and take pictures at the end.
Yeah. Is she participating in the one here?
She wants to. I'm presuming she signs up for. Oh, is it?
Yeah,
she signs up for. Well, she could have not. She doesn't tell me till the night before. But yeah, those are amazing. I watch. I try to meet her at different places on the run.
Yeah. How long was it?
5K.
Yeah.
2 hours.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the case. I don't get it either. I just know it's way too long. And she's laying on the floor at home telling me to stand on her back. And I'm saying, no, I'm not. Anyway.
Hey, Siri, how far is 5 kilometers?
5 kilometers is 16,400.
So it's like 3 miles? 16,000 feet? Isn't a mile like 5,000 feet?
Yeah, it could have been did I say half K or full K? I don't know.
About 3 miles.
It was.
We're the only country.
Not the fastest.
We're the only country in the world because I was in high school when they implemented the metric system.
For what, a week?
And we're the only ones that just said, screw it, we're not doing it. We're just not doing it.
They tried it when I was in school too. It didn't last. I don't know.
You know where I learned the metric system? In chemistry class.
Really?
I don't understand. I don't understand how that was. We learned the periodic table as we learned the metric system.
So you're comfortable with it?
Not at all.
I guess not.
Not at all. I got a C in chemistry. Are you kidding?
Well, I thought maybe
Howard Johnson.
I thought maybe you got the metric system.
No, never got the periodic table or the metric system. I just told you I got a C. Howard Johnson was our professor.
And that's tough because if you watch Jeopardy, a lot of the questions are the periodic table.
I actually do know the periodic table. I'm actually lying.
Okay.
I am sure. Test me. Go, give me something.
CE, is that one of them? Well, if you're
do you know what it is? You can't give me one that you don't know.
Okay. Tell me something you do know, then I'll see.
I know the potassium is K.
Good point.
I know that salt is NaCl.
NaCl, I know
sodium
that one.
chloride.
Yeah, sodium and chloride combined.
I know iron is Fe.
It's true. Yeah. See, you remember it. I don't know it when you say it, but I'm not sure I'd spit it out.
Yeah.
But I did know it once.
Yeah. Did you learn the periodic? I mean the
periodic
metric
table
system?
Yeah, not the metric system. No, not really. The periodic table, yeah, but
see, we just as a country, we just said screw it. We're not teaching it.
All right, but
everybody else goes by. You watch the Olympics. It was all metric system.
I was in the era of new math, which was horrible, and it set people back, I think, for years. I had to learn it, but it was whatever it was dumb. But they had to come up with something. I think to sell more books, new publishers or whatever. Today it's online, so I suppose they just make little changes. But new math was ridiculously stupid.
I got no further than algebra 2 and geometry. I never had to take calculus. I never had to take trig. I told you I got the worst math score on my SAT and my graduating class.
But you don't need it in your field, so.
You don't need it in life. You really don't. I don't know.
I don't know who does.
So where do we stand? What are we, day 10 of the Iranian war?
Yeah. Well, and I was looking because you kind of go back and forth. I'm either I love you or hate you for what you're saying about Iran the whole battle there. Because you're saying a lot of people are saying it's so long, look what we're doing, but my gosh, it's like minutes. We've only been in this thing minutes compared to other wars.
Well, see, that's what's frightening. And the national gas average is already up to $3.48.
Yeah.
And there are spots in California where it's up to $5 right here. It went from like under $4 to it's like $4.60.
Right, and if you do, and that's cash, if you do credit card, you're already into it. But of course, in this town, we're $3 higher, this state, we're $3 higher than the rest of the country. I was in LA Saturday, it was already 5-something.
Wow. But and refineries are closing. That's part of the Gavin Newsom audio.
Newsom, yeah. You can thank, we've got it in our ground and we're bringing it in from other places. That's other countries. It's insane.
We really
absolutely
need
insane.
We really need him to be the Democratic nominee.
Well, I almost wish he'd run for governor a third term. I think we could blow him out.
We really could.
Because now people are finally getting it. That it's actually not the oil companies charging us. It's what he adds to it. $14 of every tank you fill goes to Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
So there's, and then of course, shutting the refineries, it makes it harder on our folks here to drill. And they're good paying jobs for our young people without a college education. In a few years, these young men were making $100,000 working in these fields, the oil fields. And then the restaurants that serve them on the way, they go in the morning, they buy their breakfast, they get a lunch to go. All those places suffered.
We went from 41 refineries to 9.
And yet our population is huge. And we're sitting on a gold mine and we can't use it because of this governor and this legislature. I never want to put all the blame because I want all of you to understand who you vote for to sit in the building up there. That's where the problem starts. You can't correct it without fixing that. I'd say that to Steve Hilton. And if I met Bianco, I'd tell him the same. Have to change who's in the building, the legislators.
Yeah.
The proportion of Democrats is so high that Steve Hilton and Bianco can veto every bill that comes to their desk, and they have enough votes to override it, plus some.
But how can you say that to somebody? Because it would take 15 years to change our legislature.
Well, you won't change it all if we keep the system that they created in 2008, which is this professional gerrymander by state employees. It is a gerrymander. Prop 50 was minor compared to what they do. It is drawn with these criteria that are so loose, they can draw it any way they want, and they protect to seats that they can make Democrat, and they stretch out the Republican vote so it doesn't help wherever you leave it. And then you pack Vince Fong's congressional seat, you pack Shannon Grove's state Senate seat with so many Republicans so that Valadao is vulnerable, so that Hurtado can win there. It's just, that's the game. You have to change it. It can be done, has to be an initiative. The legislature is not going to do it because it's their game. But we can do it. We can do it. I'm going to do it before I'm gone. Before I'm off the Ralph Bailey show, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Somebody's listening to your show right now who agrees with me.
Well, a lot of people agree with you. It's just
they help pay for it.
Yeah, there you go.
There
That's
we
what
go.
I'm talking about.
Takes 800,000 signatures, and it takes a lot of money to get those valid ones. But it can be done, and it will change California one election. To think that we get 45% of the statewide vote for any Republican running statewide, and we have 9% of the seats up there in the building? Why? It's the way they're drawn. I want people to get sophisticated on this subject that's dry, but it's everything that passes, like car seats for 10-year-olds. They're pushing that.
Yeah, but don't poo-poo the governor's race, because I think we really have a chance for Bianco to have to face Steve Hilton.
Really?
I really do. I really do. The fact that those nitwits wouldn't listen to the state chair and get out, all he asked was, If you're at 5% or less, get out.
The Democrats.
The Democrats. Talking about Yee, Betty Yee. You're talking about Tony
She hasn't been in
Thurmond.
office in 2 years, and she's in second place.
No,
For the
she's no.
Democrat.
In the state Democratic caucus or convention, she was second place.
Yeah, but not.
She's running at like 3%. She's like at the bottom with Tony Thurmond and Antonio Villaraigosa and this Ian Calderon, who's the only one to get out. Now you've got 8 who are going to show up on that ballot. This thing could get watered down, and these 2 guys could sneak in with maybe 20 and 18% respectively.
You think Tom Steyer can buy it?
He's on the move.
Money.
That's
the only person I see on TV.
Yeah, he scares me. He's at 8% and he's looming. And you're right. He's got endless money. He spent $21 million up to now. And he could spend another 20 or 30 and not even blink.
Yeah.
He scares me. If there's anybody that could beat both of them, it'd be Steyer. I don't see Katie Porter and I don't see Eric Swalwell.
I don't know how anyone could get behind Swalwell. Katie Porter, she sounds cool, but she's not so cool. But she's got her own standing within the Democrat. You know, the government employees in this state are pretty well controlled on their voting record. They are told this is the slate, this is who you vote for. Tell your mother-in-law, tell your sister, you know, this is who we vote for to keep you being paid and your generous pensions. And they have a wide network, and it's tough to beat. The one thing Jerry Brown did wrong, and your listeners think there were 100 things. There was one thing he did the worst, which was unionize government employees. Yeah. We didn't have it before that. And since then, the budget's gone up like a rocket ship, and the control of politics is in their hands. So that's another thing we should have an initiative on as well, to make our elections more fair. That government employees aren't threatened with, well, you won't have a job if this party gets elected. It's all baloney, but no, if you want to go back to Iran, I was looking at the number of years, which I found interesting, because people think you've been there so long, when are we getting out? Because I heard you say that, even though at the same time you're talking about, you know, we and Israel have pulled an amazing coup off so far, but not enough. Coup, I guess, would mean totally changing the government, which we're not doing right now. But you know, again, be a gun pointed at them in terms of if this new Ayatollah, whatever he wants to call himself, decides he's going to go after rebuilding.
Moshada Khomeini.
Yeah, Moshada Khomeini. They love to use lots of vowels. I know.
He's the son of the Ayatollah, and a hardline cleric, from what I understand.
56 years old, so he's got a ways to go. I don't know. There's a rumor his leg was shot off during this, because if all 40 in that room, I guess was he in that room of 40 that were killed? I don't know.
No, but his dad, his mother, his wife, and son were all killed.
Okay, so he's got vengeance on his mind. That's why Trump says he's unacceptable. Of course he is. There's no hope. No, zero hope there. But
and that kind of guy scares me.
Yeah.
That kind of guy scares me. The guys that I want to see in power have children. Mm-hmm. And have a sense of the future.
Mm-hmm.
But you destroyed my family, and I have nothing to live for.
Right.
I just don't give a damn.
Right.
And those kind of, particularly the religious fanatics, scare the living daylights out of me.
This government's more religious fanatic. I mean, they ultimately think they're going somewhere for doing this. They're getting a special place in their special heaven, and it's they're happy to do it. They're committed to it.
But, they drove planes into buildings.
Mm-hmm.
When Maya Angelou told us, when they show you who they are, believe them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's understand who they are. That's why I am in favor. Maybe that's why you say I go back and forth, because I do. I'm in favor of what we're doing. I just don't like how we're doing it. I think the president should have sat down behind a desk and explain, much the way Howard Marcus explained it to us last Wednesday, why we're doing this. The fact that, you know, instead of making flippant remarks about the dead and why did he wear a hat to the welcoming back? He just gave
USA,
an issue, the Democrats an issue. They're making
it wasn't
a much bigger
MAGA. It was USA.
Deal.
It was the
I
USA.
don't care. You don't wear a hat to a funeral.
I don't know
a hat to a funeral.
I thought that was outside where the airplane was.
It was.
Well, that wasn't a funeral outside. That was a welcoming them in. But when you say,
Kathy, are you trying to say that it was appropriate to wear a hat?
When I saw it said USA, I kind of got it why he did that. But I think that what we have to recognize is he can't sit there and say, this is what we're going to do, folks. We're on Thursday, we're going to do this, and it's going to take us a couple weeks, and then we're going to do this, and hopefully then at the last minute, we're going to sneak in here. So that we're not going to get. I don't know what more you wanted him to tell us. I hope they do it.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, I am going to destroy the Iranian regime one by one, no matter what it takes. We're going to destroy these people off the planet. And if they put up another RIGC leader, we're going to take him out as well. If they line up one by one, we'll take them all out. This has to end. It's been going on for 46 years. If you listen to the Ralph Bailey Show at 4:30 on Monday afternoon, he'll chronicle the number of incidents that have happened since 1979. And that old geezer was in high school in 1979. It's incident after incident. And every single president has said they can't have nuclear weapons, and I'm going to do something about it. Well, I'm doing something about it. And I campaigned on it, and I said I'm going to bomb the S out of them, and that's exactly what we're doing. So stand by and hold tough, because prices are going to go up. They are. I can tell you that right now. But hold tough, because we're going to finally settle the Middle East. Good night.
Okay, I like that last part.
Hi, Melania. That's what he should say.
I like that last part. Things are going to be tough. Maybe gas will go up. They'll go up even more in California, but that's your problem. Yeah, I think all that makes sense. But I believe he made it clear to us that if they pursued, like Israel is, if they pursue nuclear weapons, we're going after them, which is what they went after. So I don't have a problem with what he did. And then he has said, I'm not pleased with this son of a gun who's in there. So Mushat Khomeini. So now the next thing is, does he blow him away, or does he watch and see? What she's saying is, if he tries to go back and rebuild these facilities, I'm going to go after him. I think that's clear. I don't think there's a secret there.
No.
And you go after him, not with our soldiers on the ground so much, but, and then we can talk about the draft later. But they're going after him with our war machine in these days is in the air and through brilliant spying.
What about the introduction of the D word? Why would they go there?
Who said that? I didn't hear who you said.
Caroline, he said it, and then Caroline Levitt responded to Maria Bartolona bringing it up.
I love her. I can't believe you don't like her. She's a business reporter, but
she gets into politics a lot.
I like.
She used to be the woman that used to stand on the floor at the stock exchange and do her live reports. What made her. That's what made her. Because she could, she'd be getting bumped and guys would be running. And she could clearly do her live shot. She was really, really good. Mm-hmm. But I think she's a wackadoo a little bit, just a little bit. But she brought it up with Carolyn Levitt, and then Carolyn Levitt kind of obfuscated a little bit. But I don't even know why they're bringing that word up. Nobody wants to hear the word draft.
Well, I don't know what our status of our military forces is right now, but when I grew up, that we all had it, and we all knew what number people got, and some people got a good number and some people got a bad number.
Kathy, are you implying that we could implement the draft and this whole country's hair wouldn't catch on fire?
Well, are you saying there's absolutely no loyal Americans except the few that sign up for the military?
I'm saying we cannot have a random pick of young men and send them to war, because that would mean rich kids would go, and rich parents are simply not going to allow that. We're basically, if we institute the draft, we are basically turning the pages and going back to Vietnam, and America just won't have it. Just won't have it.
Well, we do have to keep our military.
Can you imagine your daughter being drafted?
Well, if the law is, I watched what my brother's number was, and his number happened to be a higher number, so he didn't get called up. But I didn't think, well, we're all going to riot if it happens, because we actually followed what our country was doing. Today, we have a different situation. I agree, only in that people's loyalty is mostly to pocketbook and a nice, easy lifestyle. But
I'm shocked that you're not dispelling even a suggestion of the draft.
Well, I don't know the numbers. What did they say? They're low in numbers of people.
I don't know. I don't know why. That's why I'm asking. I don't know why they didn't even bring it up.
We don't fight. These folks aren't fighting on the ground. They're also, a lot of it is spy work. A lot of it is, not where you're running around and hanging out at a bar in Montebello, Casablanca. But I'm saying we're not so much fighting where we're going to send, 500,000 troops to go shoot up Iran. We got to blow out their leadership.
Yeah.
That's always been the problem. And this son now is the next guy we're gonna contend with him. I'm sure we're gonna remove him.
I believe the
No doubt.
Democrats would try to impeach Trump if they tried to institute a draft.
Well,
And I think some Republicans would join. I don't think they could get him, but some Republicans would join that vote. I really do.
could be.
Kathy Abernathy, everybody. We head into I have no idea what time it is. Head back half of the 4 o'clock hour. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Clock says 3:29. I'm like, what? Don't know why. I don't know why. Everything just changes. Yeah.
News
Well, I
Talk
missed the damn
96.1 and
I missed
AM
the damn
1180
tea time
KERN.
With us are news. I'm Keith Peters in Washington,
No, I
Australian Home
set
Affairs
my,
Minister Tony Burke says
I
that
set my
Australia
alarm
has granted
backward.
asylum to 5 members of the
So I
Iranian
woke up
women's
at
soccer
6:30.
team who were visiting the country for a
Yes.
tournament.
I
The
set
women
my,
were transported from
because I
their
went back to
hotel in
sleep.
Gold Coast, Australia,
I
to
woke
a
up at
safe
6:30. I was like,
location
oh,
by
I got
Australian
another
federal
hour.
police
What's the matter
officers
with
in
me?
the early
I went
hours
back to
of
sleep, woke
Tuesday
up at
morning local
7:30,
time.
which was
There they met
which
with
is
Burke, and the
not enough time.
processing of their humanitarian visas were finalized.
All right.
President Trump had a call with Russian President
next week. But
Vladimir
then the
Putin to
following week is the
discuss the
golf
war
tournament.
in Iran and other issues.
So you're
According
off
to the
following
Kremlin,
week,
Monday's
23rd.
frank and businesslike conversation lasted about an hour. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 239 points. The Nasdaq rose 308, with the S&P 500 advancing by 56. This is SRN News.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. California's average price for gas shoots up again, and this time lands at $5.13 per gallon of regular, says Gas Buddy. That's higher than every other state, but the cheapest in the state is at a station in Bakersfield, selling it for $3.69 on Union Avenue. The trial for Margaret Eichhorst of Oildale and the death of 3-year-old Alejandro Perez Jr. has been pushed back, according to court records. Now a new hearing is in early June, with the trial possibly beginning June 15th. She's accused in the abuse death of Perez, February 9th, 2024. The jury is deadlocked in the trial of Juan Andres Valdez, accused of killing his grandmother by stabbing on Flower Street in 2023, after hearing voices. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom. News every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Hey folks, Jeff Salters here to let you know that Sunday, April 5th, we will be closed for Easter Sunday as we celebrate the risen Savior, Jesus Christ. Here's my grandkids to tell you a little bit about how excited they are this year to celebrate Easter.
He's a risen. He's risen. He's a risen. He is risen. He is risen. He is risen. He is risen.
In Matthew 28:6, the Bible says, "He is not here, for he is risen. As he said, come see the place where the Lord lay." Kids, let me hear it. So as we take this time off to celebrate Easter with our family, our prayer is that you will take the time with your families as well. And remember Jesus Christ's death, burial, and resurrection. While we celebrate this Easter, the risen Savior. May God bless you and may his peace be with you. Remember, he is risen. He is risen indeed. You can find us at 9425 Rosedale Highway or 6801 White Lane. Or if you want, you can go to saltysbbq.com and order online.
Next, Armstrong and Getty Show, an update on everything happening in the conflict with Iran, plus left-wing activist groups teaching people to lie their way onto juries, then let the scumbags go.
And we're learning more about that ISIS-inspired terrorist attack in New York. They were really hoping to kill and hurt a lot of people. That's a bad one. We'll have all the latest on the next Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough. But if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Completely. Hold music. Will you love me tomorrow? The Shirelles. I know I was not alive when they were. No, I was not. No. Still good music. From the 50s. I'm a 60s baby. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Let's check the board. What do you got?
Let's see. Ralph, this generation of kids, they're not going to war. They don't care. It's not going to happen. There's a whole new world out there now. I have 2 sons. If somebody attacks us, I'm on board. If we attack somebody, that's not happening.
Yeah, I was, Kathy has often shocked me and surprised me and taken me aback, but I was stunned that she is not full-throatedly, vociferously against a draft, or does she, the fact that she doesn't think that this country's hair would catch on fire with even the scent of a redo of Vietnam, because that's the first thing that liberal Democrats are going to say. And you really think, like, that was a great example from a liberal Democrat who texted, you think Barron Trump is going to war? He's 20 years old. He'd be eligible. His ball would be in the lottery. Do you think that any one of the 535 legislators, that their children are going to war? Do you think any of the billionaires in this country now, not millionaires now, but billionaires, you think their children are going to war? Have you gone crazy? A draft would, this country would go berserk if we were just going to randomly select men and women to go to war. Young men and women who are in college and are that age, 18, kids just getting out of high school. To me, when I examined the Vietnam War, that was, I think, one of the downfalls of the Vietnam War, that basically poor minorities went to war. And if you were Bill Clinton or if you were Donald Trump, you could either get a congressman to sign off, as Clinton did, or you could get some doctor to say that you had bone spurs, as President Trump did. But do we really have those kind of men that are willing to go to Iran, who are ready to sign up? No. The reality is no. And the reason that every man that could walk signed up on December 7th or December 8th, so we were attacked on our home territory. It hasn't happened since, other than terrorist organizations, but that was the start of a global conflict where you were looked down upon if you hadn't signed up by December 9th. But this thing, with the majority of the Americans not even approving of the operation itself, let alone a draft? Please, are you kidding me? What else you got?
Ralph, have you ever seen the movie Beirut with John Hamm?
I have not. But thanks for the question. What else you got?
The guy that came in second in the marathon did not drink anything during the entire race. That was not smart.
I thought people stand by with all kind of cups, and they're just standing there holding the cups, and they grab it and they drink like a quarter of the cup because it's jiggling and shaking. He didn't drink a thing. I thought the story was the fact that he got diverted. And you can't tell me that that didn't make a difference because he lost by a hair. I mean, it was a photo finish, although I thought it clearly looked like the Martin guy who looked like he just stepped out of a locker room. I don't know where that guy came from. I wouldn't be surprised if they investigate this thing and found out that that guy started at like the 13th mile or something, because he looked mighty damn fresh and mighty, he didn't even look like he was perspiring. And he was sprinting at the end. Who sprints at the end of a marathon? It was dramatic. Ran the guy down. But like I said, the big story that I read coming out of KTLA is that he got diverted. I think it was about 200 or 300 yards from the finish, and then finally realized, got his path back. But I mean, if he just got diverted by 5 yards, if he just went 5 yards this way instead of 5 yards that way, I think you can make a pretty good argument that made a difference. The man got beat like by a nose, almost literally. One more, then I got to talk about Jesse Jackson.
Ralph, you sound like an idiot. People wear hats for every kind, including ball caps, to funerals. The object is to show up and pay respect, not how you're dressed.
Okay, since you're going to call me an idiot, I'm going to have to attack you. You're the idiot. Because there's protocol. It's called protocol. And when the president of the United States receives dead bodies coming back from war, I mean, at least you can say he went. Joe Biden didn't even go when the 13 Americans died in the departure of Afghanistan. But no president. Now, I'm not saying, the first thing I said, Democrats are going to make a big deal out of that. That's exactly what they did. But no, you're totally wrong. There is protocol. I know it's the 21st century, and decorum and protocol and tradition has gone right out the window, but you do not, as commander-in-chief, wear a baseball cap to welcome home dead veterans. Do me this favor, go ask a veteran. Go ask a veteran what they think. Go ask anybody involved with honor flight. As conservative as all those men are, I think they would all agree it's not that big a deal. The Democrats are doing this for political purposes, but in terms of tradition, in terms of protocol, in terms of decorum, the commander-in-chief does not wear a hat. Whether it's a fedora, a beret, and certainly not a baseball cap. I don't give a damn if it says USA. I don't give a damn if it has every name of the people that he's welcoming back. And I'm the idiot? Really? You can't just disagree with me? You have to call me an idiot? Go look up the decorum, sir. Go look it up. And again, just go ask a veteran. Go ask a veteran. So the president wore a baseball cap to welcome back the dead? And you're going to call me an idiot? And yet you listen to me. So what does that make you? You listen to an idiot. That must make you developmentally disabled. Do you want me to slow down? I can slow down if I'm going too fast for you, sir. One more, and then I got to get to Angry Jesse Jr. I love this story.
Mario's chimed in.
Mario, what's really going on?
Says, hey, Ralph, the only way the draft comes back and works is if Barron is the first pick.
Exactly. That's about the amount of chances it working, that if Barron's the first pick. And we all know that ain't never. That ain't never, ever. That ain't never, ever, 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 ever gonna happen. So we're not going back to a draft. It would just be too reminiscent of Vietnam and that era, which is one of the ugliest in our history. And rich folks' parents would be panicked. And once again, it would probably hit the poor and those kids that aren't going to college. And no, it would divide this country even further. It is nuts to even contemplate, and why this administration would even introduce that word is, I guess, the same reason he's talked about taking over Greenland, and now he's talking about taking over Cuba, and now we attacked Ecuador. I can't answer these questions. Remember, I'm the idiot. I'm the idiot you guys listen to. Let's go ahead and take an idiotic break. When we come back, Jesse Jackson Jr., Jesse Lewis Jackson Jr., not happy with Barack Obama. Not that it stems from Obama's DOJ throwing him in prison. Nah. You'll hear from the disgraced congressman. Sad, too. Got to meet him. I met him in 88 at the Democratic National Convention. I do not believe he was a congressman then, because he's about my age. And then when he wait till you hear his speech. Like, I know his dad's a minister, but my grandfather was a minister, and I don't try to talk like that. You know that, I don't know what you call it, that pastoral rhythm. Leticia Perez tried it in a county speech a couple years ago. It was the funniest thing in the world. It's as if, like, right before they speak, they went back and listened to either a sermon or Dr. King or something, and they start talking in a certain rhythm that is as phony as it gets. You know what I'm saying? We'll hear from Jesse Jr. I'll explain. Coming up at 5, we'll talk more about the crazy ending of the LA Marathon and more discussion on Max Crosby. We had Greg Kerr on earlier, and he said absolutely the Raiders should have gotten more, but leave it to the Raider organization to do what we do. Let's get it wrong. So you know that 14th pick we're going to get from Baltimore? Doesn't matter. I guarantee he's a bust. I guarantee in 2 years, that 14th round pick that we make isn't on the ball club. Isn't even on the ball club. Big time out. We're coming right back. It's TRBS. Start a brand new week with sunshine, blue skies, and 2 weeks away from the 4th annual Honor Flight Open at Bakersfield Country Club. If you haven't signed up, I feel bad for you because you might not get in. So hurry to honorflightopen.com. Chef Salters providing the lunch from Salty's Barbecue, Cassie Biddle, tacos and cocktails. And the freckle-faced host has the first round. Have you seen the freckles on the side of JR's face? Yeah, he's got the first. No. I got it. Why do I got it, Chris?
Because you're flush?
I'm flush! I almost did it, Chris. But I didn't. I felt like I was almost destined to do it because I went out Friday night, had dinner with Mike and Romeo, and came home and turned on my television. What did it fall on?
World Series of Poker?
Yes, it did. Nice guess. And I was like, damn, I could be there in 15 minutes. Quick time out. Coming right back. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and
Adaptive.
ERN. The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
$500,000 for a building that is burned down 23 times in the last year, and it only makes me ask, why the hell haven't we just let this thing burn down to the ground already? And then the internet is great as it is. The comment says, I hope the person that reports this fire didn't call 911.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You know, whether you're a small local company or a growing enterprise, you need an IT company that's going to adapt to you. That's one of the reasons that we teamed up with Adaptive Network right here at American General Media. That's right. They provide our IT. Their customer-driven approach means you get exactly what you need, nothing more, nothing less. Don't settle for generic IT support. I know we don't. So call Adaptive Network today at 241-0638. That's 661-241-0638, or head them online at adaptive-net.com. Call Adaptive Networks and discover what truly customized technology solutions can do for your business. Adaptive Networks, because your business is unique and your IT should be as well. Just another reason they keep our radio station on the air. Call them again at 661-241-0638 0638. If you care about your IT, hit them online at adaptive-net.com.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will
What
there
time
be
is
enough
Mike?
gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible
515?
security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word secure to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and their thousands of great reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text SECURE to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can choose the best coverage option for you. Because you know you. Like, you know you can't cook. You're not one of those people who say that they can, but when people come over for dinner, they find out the hard way, you can't. You can't even microwave popcorn, and that's literally just one button. Plus, measuring and patience are huge parts of cooking, and that's just not you. Only you know you. So get coverage options within your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates. Pricing coverage match limited by state law.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Get it? With the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 K.
Eight 537 842-KERN. So as I told you Friday, after they laid the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr., I almost got the audio. I found it this morning. I was like, you can't go on and quote yourself, Ralph. Just tell them what you said on Friday. But I told you that it was a weird celebration of life because just about everybody, and I gave Barack Obama his due because I really thought that of all the candidates, or all former presidents, I should say, Barack didn't really talk about his life. Now, he did talk about as, veiled as he could. He did talk about Trump and where we are in America today, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not the beef that Jesse Jackson Jr. has with Barack or any other presidents. But he did hold a press conference. He is a disgraced congressman who, as I mentioned at the top of the show, was on a meteoric rise. He had the name. He's a good-looking cat. He's my age now, so he's old and ugly, and wears his glasses down on his nose, which makes him look even older. He's wearing prescription glasses like you wear reading glasses, and he's graying, and he still thinks he's a pastor, and he's complaining. Just let it go. let it go. Try to start your own way. Apparently, I think he's trying to get back into Congress or may have a state run. There's rumors in Illinois, because Illinois is crooked as a hanger. Rod Blagojevich, Giancana back in the day, Richard Daley's son. The winning of the presidency in 1960 took place in Illinois where they cheated. So it's right for a guy who went to prison to get back in. But here is Jesse Jackson Jr. complaining about his father's celebration of life.
I listened for several hours of 3 United States presidents who do not know Jesse Jackson. He maintained a tense relationship with the political order, not because the presidents were white or black, but the demands of our message, the demands of speaking for the least of these, those who were disinherited, the damned, the dispossessed, the disrespected, demanded not Democratic or Republican solutions, but demanded a consistent, prophetic voice that at no point in time ever sold us out as a people. And it speaks volumes about who the Reverend Jesse Jackson was.
See, when I say that, I get called an Uncle Tom. Because basically what he said is, we had 3 men who made a bunch of promises to the black community and never really held any of them. But his real gripe, again, as I've talked throughout the broadcast, his real gripe is with Barack Obama, who I think the Jackson family felt could have done their family a solid and interceded and cut off the Department of Justice from prosecuting Jesse and sending him to prison back when he was at his zenith as the son of Jesse Jackson Sr. And, you know, I understand it is you can make a lot of parallels with Barack Obama and Jack Roosevelt Robinson. You really can. And as much as there were things that, as a black man, Jackie Robinson could not do in his first couple of years being in Major League Baseball. Just couldn't. He could not fight with white players. He could not punch back. He could not fight. He had to walk the straight and narrow until he could prove, as he did, winning the first ever Rookie of the Year in 1947, that he could actually play, that black folks could actually play, that they could steal bases, that they were smart, that they could run bases, that they knew situations. And a lot you could say was the same for Barack Obama. Barack had to be very careful of not being a black president. I don't think anybody else running now, I don't think of Wesley Hunt, black congressman down in DC, or Val Demings on the Democratic side, or I can't even think of Byron Donald, or any black man running now has to concern himself with that. But I think Barack Obama did. And I think that's one of the reasons that he really did make a separation between he and the DOJ, which is constitutional, but is not reality. It's just not. It's what the Democrats are screaming now, that Trump runs the DOJ, which he does. He tells Pam Bondi what to do, and Pam Bondi does it. That's no different than any other relationship between the DOJ and the presidency, even though it's supposed to be separate and confined. I mean, good God Almighty, John Kennedy appointed his brother. Okay, you really think there was a separation between the DOJ, between Bobby and Robert? You really? You think there was with Eric Holder, with Obama? Give me a break. The DOJ falls under the president and does what the president wants them to do. So could he have done him a solid? Yeah, probably. Could have pardoned him, could have done a lot of things, but he didn't. And that's really his gripe. But they did all, Clinton, Biden, and I thought to a lesser degree Barack, but they did all use about 6 or 7 minutes of their 15 minutes to talk about their own careers. They might have slid Jesse's name in there. And there is the fact that part of trying not to be a black president, Barack was critical of Jesse Jackson. He thought that was kind of the Sister Soldier moment. And if you don't understand that politically, historically, go look it up. I don't have time. Look up Bill Clinton's Sister Soldier. I don't have time to explain it to you. Because we're headed to the top of the hour. Final hour of the broadcast on this Monday. It's the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we stream live at kernradio.com. And for those subscribers viewing on YouTube, just go to YouTube and put in the name Ralph Bailey. In the meantime, I would stick around if I you.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Israeli UN Ambassador Danny Danon says Israel will continue to target the leadership of Iran's regime.
Changing the man at the top does not change the regime. It is the same ideology, the same nuclear ambitions, the same ballistic missiles, the same terror proxies. For us, nothing changed. My advice to Tehran's new leadership, look at what happened to those who thought they could threaten the U.S. and Israel.
Danon spoke to reporters amid continued U.S.-Israel strikes on Iran. He was joined by several women's rights activists from Iran to address the rights and freedoms of women in that country. Police are investigating what is being called an ISIS-related terrorism investigation in New York City.
Over the weekend, 2 men caught with IEDs near the New York City mayor's residence during protests and counter-protests. Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch says these devices could have killed people if they had gone off.
This is being investigated as an act of ISIS-inspired terrorism.
She says Amir Balat and Ibrahim Kayumi are under arrest. They were counter-protesting conservative influencer Jake Lang's Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City rally.
At this time, we do not have any information that connects this investigation to what's going on overseas in Iran.
Julie Walker, New York.
Multiple gunshots were fired at the Los Angeles home of Rihanna, and police have taken a woman into custody. That, according to the Los Angeles Police Department, there were no injuries following the Sunday shooting. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 239 points. The Nasdaq rose 308. The S&P advanced 56. More on these stories at townhall.com.
We have reached the age where things just cost more.
Cars, phones, life insurance.
Your blood pressure is up.
Your weight is up.
You're one to talk.
I have type 2 diabetes, so I'm getting dinged just like you.
Thank goodness for Big Lou.
Big Lou!
Big Lou can get term life insurance rates for a 50-year-old male with type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure, or maybe he's on anxiety meds for just around $200 a month for $1 million of coverage.
Oh, you got to say that again.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll say it. Big Lou and Term Provider could get a 50-year-old man, a little dinged up, $1 million in life insurance for around $200 a month.
Call Big Lou.
Big Lou.
He's like you. 800-555-2085. That's 800-555-2085.
Don't put it off. If you're overweight, diabetic, have high blood pressure, you gotta call Big Lou.
Gotta. 800-555-2085.
Write it down.
800-555-2085.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Crime scene tape outside an Oildale bar. I'm Chris Davis. That's where Kern County deputies say a person was shot and killed shortly after midnight Saturday at the Long Branch Saloon, which is near the intersection of Lincoln and Ferguson. They have not yet discussed the circumstances and have not released the name of the person killed, but they have released some info on a suspect. They are looking for 27-year-old Stephen Quick, described as 6 feet 1 inch tall and 165 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes. Deputies are asking for tips on him. The name of the man killed in a motorcycle wreck in Bakersfield Sunday morning has not yet been released. Bakersfield PD says that wreck happened on South Mount Vernon Avenue and that the bike wrecked in a curve. They believe that the man was going too fast and didn't make the curve. They do not know yet if alcohol may have played a part in that. The wreck happened just before 8:30. A man who depends on his wheelchair is missing. Last seen Saturday morning about 10:30 near the Lowe's on Colony Street. 68-year-old Victor Lopez is considered at risk because of his medical condition. Bakersfield PD says he's a quadriplegic in that motorized chair. He's described as an Hispanic man, 5'5", 250 pounds, bald with brown eyes. $3.69 is the price of the least expensive gas in California, and that can be found right here in Bakersfield at a station on Union Avenue. That does not reflect, unfortunately, gas prices at large in the state, where the average price is now $5.14, according to Gas Buddy. That has to do with the Middle East situation and oil being at more than $120 per barrel. California still has the most expensive gas in the country. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180. KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get a post like this. Bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180. KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Monday. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we stream live at KERNradio.com. We still got lots to do. I was just talking about Jesse Jackson. I've got a connection that I'm going to illustrate in just a second on why I believe that Donald Trump is not a racist, but certainly plays one and does things to wink at the white supremacist minority of the MAGA movement. You cannot tell me. Well, let me give you my thesis, and then you can fight with me. All MAGA are not white supremacists, quite obviously, because I would probably be considered a MAGA person, although probably not, because I'm willing to criticize the president. I think he's got a clown cabinet outside of Doug Burgum and Scott Bessent and Scott Duffy, the transportation secretary, the Secretary of State, Secretary of State Marco Rubio. But the rest you can have. Pam Bondi, we got rid of Kristi Noem, Kash Patel, Pete Hegseth. You can have them. Absolutely have them. But I do think that you could say that all white supremacists are MAGA. Who else are they voting for? White supremacists voting Democratic? Independent? Really? News to me. So I think he has to, that's the most loyal part of MAGA, because I just think the evidence is overwhelming, and I'll present it in just a second. Meantime, somebody once again asked for my Mount Rushmore of the Laker organization. I don't know how that came up, but nevertheless, and this is consistent. Haven't I always said gone with Jerry West, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Elgin Baylor. And the only reason I leave Wilt off, who literally averaged 50 points and 30 rebounds one season. I'm not making that up. He averaged every single night. He scored 50 points and brought down 30 rebounds. He wasn't with us very long. We got him in like 70. We didn't win 70. We didn't win in 71. We won in 72. We lost again on the Knicks in 73. And then we went through a really bad period, and then he retired. And then we got Kareem in like 76. And we still were bad. We'd get to the Western, not even to the finals. We'd get to like the second round. And that's when he did it, Chris. Who am I speaking of, and what did he do?
We're talking basketball, so
Lakers and my family.
Oh, your dad sold the tickets.
1978, he sold the tickets. They were pretty good tickets, too. They were, unfortunately, underneath the basket, about 5-7 rows up. So when the other team was down the other end, it was kind of cumbersome. But if the Lakers, we always hope that the Lakers would be on this side of the court in the fourth quarter. And he sold them the year before we drafted Magic. And at the time, we were living like 16 minutes from the Forum. But later that summer, we moved to the South Bay, so it would have been a pain in the ass anyway. But it's the only time I've ever cursed my dad. Because we sucked. Even with Kareem, we didn't really go very far. And then Mr. Johnson turned it around. And to think that we won the championship the very first year he came to Los Angeles is just amazing. And that final game that he had. I am reading, I believe this is from the Los Angeles Times, when it comes to that dramatic victory for a man by the name of Nathan Martin, who ran down Michael Kumani Koma. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. But do you have anything? Did you go Google Nathan Martin? Because he's clearly not African. He may be an African American, but that's kind of a loose term, because so is Elon Musk. So is Ernie Els.
Just says he's American.
I know, but what's his story? What do you got on this guy? He ran down this guy, but there may be reason for that. We'll learn about Nathan in just a second while Chris looks him up. But let me read from, I believe this is from Los Angeles Times. The man who came in second by just milliseconds in a dramatic finish to the Los Angeles Marathon on Sunday took a wrong turn before being overtaken, according to devastating video. Michael Kamani Kamo, who finished second, is edged out by winner Nathan Martin after appearing to drift away from the path just 2 minutes before the finish line, according to video posted on social media. Camus, dressed in a pink and orange shirt, was in the final stretch when he tried to dodge an excited spectator in his path, prompting him to veer right and run outside of a barrier, splitting the road into 2 lanes. The clip clearly shows. Now, again, you got to remember, he lost by like literally inches. So any diversion within 2 minutes of the finish line caused him the race. And it's the first time I can't remember. When was the last time you heard a marathon not being won by an African? And I don't mean an African American. I mean from the dark continent. That's what I'm talking about. What do you know about this Nathan Martin?
So everything I keep reading here says he's actually the fastest marathon runner we have ever, like in history.
Yeah.
He's that good. He's a 2-time U.S. Olympic marathon trialist qualifier who in 2020 ran the fastest marathon by a black man born in the United States, ran a 2:11.5. So
2 hours,
11 minutes, 5 seconds.
That is fast. Good Google.
To finish 9th in the marathon project in Chandler, Arizona, surpassing Herm Adkins' 41-year-old mark, which was 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 52 seconds, which was set back in 1979. Not much. Besides that, it says he has 6 sisters, lost both parents to cancer, unfortunately.
Jeez. Has he ever won?
I'm not seeing anything here.
That's
In
crazy.
2020 in the Olympic marathon trials in Atlanta, he was 69th in that and 23rd in 2016's trials in LA.
I need a drug test.
He's 36 years old.
He wasn't sprinting like a 36-year-old man. Did you see the end of it?
I did not.
Oh, dude, you got to watch this. He looks like
he won the Naples half marathon in 2021.
Yeah. All right.
Actually, the last couple of years,
5 years ago.
Significantly improved.
Yeah.
He's gotten second and first and fourth and like a whole bunch of other ones. The only one he's won was Naples, but he's been pretty close.
That was 5-6 years ago. The Naples thing.
I know.
Well, it was dramatic, and that poor guy. Do you go find that fan and just
just
curse
give
her
him
out?
for?
Like, why in the world would you jump in the path of a marathon? With ours about to come up, so get ready for that, by the way.
Yeah, no kidding.
For my fellow downtowners and Westchester residents, where we get shut in and sequestered.
It never fails to. I always have to go cross town during that every single time.
Well, the last 2 years, I have forgotten and had plans on Sunday. 2 years ago, I just had an inkling for Mexicali and had my whole day surrounded by it. Didn't have breakfast, waited till 2 o'clock, that perfect afternoon. I think there was a college basketball game on. I was really excited to watch at 3, and it took me literally about 45 minutes, almost to an hour to get there. Because my Uber driver was a really nice young girl who tried her heart out to get to my house. And she spent about half an hour, and she kept calling me. I'm still trying. And then she finally just gave up, and she said, the closest I can get is Jastrow Park. And I said, fine, that's within walking distance. I can be there in about 5 minutes. Just hang on. So then I walked to Jastrow Park, and then we had to go up Oak and then all the way back around down Union. We went by BHS. It was crazy. It took us a good 15 minutes to 20 minutes to get to Mexicali from Jastrow Park. And this was late in the afternoon. I mean, how long does this damn thing go on? Is this an all-day event?
From what I understand, yeah.
Doesn't it start like in the morning? Shouldn't they be starting at like 7, and wrapping this thing up around 1? I don't know. It's a pain in the ass. And the problem, I'm in the minority. This thing is getting more popular. My neighbors were talking about it. They want to go out and hold water. Okay, go ahead and knock that out. I'm going to be eating on my groceries that I got Saturday night, watching TV. All right, let's go and take a break. We come back. I'm going to prove that Donald Trump is not a bigot. Does he play one on TV? You damn right he does. You damn right he does. I'm sorry. If you're not trying to wink at your racist base, you don't put the Obamas on a top of an 8. You just don't do it. You just don't. But is he deep down a racist? Not in the ruler that I have. I don't know how you guys measure him, but I'll try to make my case when we come back. Then the bottom of the hour, we'll talk a little sports. Travis Kelce made up his mind on whether he's going to play again next year. I'm sure he got the inspiration either to say yes or no from Big Mama. Tay, as he likes to call her. A dramatic win down at Arnie's place in Florida, Bay Hill, a course that I've played, which lurched me into some interesting Tiger stats that I'm going to share with you. And the president of the Ohio State University steps down. And again, the Big 12 or whatever it is plagued by high-ranked officials not thinking with their big head. Yeah, it was a woman that undid the president of Ohio State, Shauna. Just saying. Time out. We're coming right back. It's TRBS on Monday, right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, and we stream live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, oil is officially spendy. Gas prices are up. We'll get into all of that. Lois Henry will join us to talk about water issues. We will have state-of-the-art news, traffic, and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1, streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
As I mentioned earlier, I had dinner with owner-operator of Big Mike's Ragin' Barbecue this weekend, Mike Arier, former New York Giant, former Green Bay Packer, who's used the discipline it takes to get from Garces to the National Football League to concentrate on his catering business, which is booming. I talked to Mike Friday night. He's extremely happy with our advertising. He's already gotten some bites. So if you've got an event, see what I did there, bites and catering. If you've got a graduation event, a St. Patrick's Day event, a birthday, a wedding, whatever it is, you're going to have some of the finest food that you can find among caterers. Call Michael today at 393-5507. That's 393-5507. As I mentioned, just about every day that I talk about this, Mike comes personally with his crew, his rig. They do the cleaning, they do the cooking, they do the serving. You do nothing but pick up the phone and call Big Mike at 393-5507. That's 393-5507. Mike Arier owner-operator Big Mike's Ragin' Barbecue.
Look up in the sky. Yeah, that's what they cry. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's them. It's Paul Sheldon's team, that well-oiled machine of Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. Okay, not superpowers, but still thousands of hours deciphering Medicare's whims, fighting the good fight, learning what works right. Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. So it might seem old-fashioned, but hard work with passion most often gives you the win. And the trio that knows are those Medicare pros, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. You know, actually to many, they are superheroes. Christine, Kelly, and Lynn.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Trucordia, a new name, but a trusted partner for Kern County businesses. At Trucordia, we provide business solutions that include comprehensive commercial insurance and proactive risk strategies to help protect your company and keep operations running smoothly. We also offer benefit solutions with flexible options for both businesses and individuals, supported by easy online tools and hands-on local service that makes everything simpler. For guidance you can count on, call Don Coons at 661-401-2280. Trucordia. Building trust.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
Case that Trump just pretends to be a bigot just to wink at his white supremacist base. I don't know what's worse, actually being a bigot or pretending to be one. Let me just read what he said about the death of Jesse Jackson. He wrote on his Truth Social, "The Reverend Jesse Jackson is dead at 84. I knew him well, long before becoming president. He was a good man with lots of personality, grit, and, quote, street smarts." I find that as a, well, anyway. He was very gregarious, someone who truly loved people, despite the fact that I am falsely and consistently called a racist by the scoundrels and lunatics on the radical left, Democrats all. It was always my pleasure to help Jesse along the way. I provided office space for him and his Rainbow Coalition for years in the Trump building at 40 Wall Street, responded to his request for help in getting criminal justice reform passed and signed when no other president would even try, single-handedly pushed and passed long-term funding for historically Black colleges and universities, which Jesse loved, but also which other presidents would not do. Extremely, extremely true. In fact, he had a large portion of the HBCU presidents in the White House for the very first time in the history of the White House. Just saying. That just isn't something that a racist does. Most of the racists that I have confronted in my 60-odd years of life don't want to be around Black people, don't want to associate with them, don't want their kids going to school with them, don't want to do business with them. They will if they have to, but they're not going to their house for dinner. That's one of the questions I always pose to you guys. How many Black people have really sat at your dinner table? Not to play cards, not because that's where they sit when they stop by, but actually had a meal just sitting at your dinner. I'm just asking. Back to Donald Trump and my case. single-handedly pushed and passed long-term funding for us. Okay, I read that. But also what the other presidents would not do. Responded to Jesse's support for opportunity zones, which was gargantuan. Jack Kemp was the only Republican that was in favor of that. That's why I love Jack Kemp. The single most successful economic development package yet approved for Black businessmen and women, and much more. Jesse was a force of nature like few others before him. He was, I can't read this because they've got this thing in the way. Oh, there, I can move it. He had much to do with election without acknowledgement or credit of Barack Hussein Obama, a man who Jesse could not stand. It's true. He loved his family greatly, and to them, I send my deepest sympathies and condolences. Jesse will be missed. Okay, so you're thinking, well, Ralph, come on, really? Well, if you don't believe me, let's take it from the words of the late Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr.
I now want to bring forth a friend who, when we opened this Wall Street project and we talked about it, he gave us space at 40 Wall Street, which was to make a statement about our having a presence there. And beyond that, in terms of reaching out and being inclusive, he's done that too. And created for many people a comfort zone when I ran for the presidency in 84 and 88. And many others thought it was either laughable or something to avoid. He came to our business meeting here in New York because he has this sense of the curious and a will to risk to make things better. Who's an effective builder of building with a builder of people. Last year, he was a part of our workshop, of our panel workshop on what are the challenges and opportunities. And so this, a year later, Donald Trump, for a few minutes, challenges and opportunities to embrace the underserved communities. Donald Trump.
Well, it is an honor to be here, and I was with Jesse last year, and we had a lot of fun, and it was a little different. Jesse started off by saying, most of the wealth in this country is in the hands of a few. And I thought to myself, is that a bad thing? What's wrong with that, Jesse? And he said, listen, I want some office space in your building on Wall Street, because the wall on Wall will fall. And I said, it's okay, Jesse, I'll make a good deal with you. I'll get you some space. You'll pay about $40 a foot. And he said, no. I don't want to pay 40. I said, how about 30? No. It's the cheapest deal I ever made in the history of 40 Wall Street. Is that right? He got it for nothing. He's a very tough negotiator. You know that, right? Yeah, he's a terrific guy. We love him, and I'm here for him. And I will tell you, a large percentage of the people, and especially in construction, that are building these great jobs are Black and minorities, and I'm very proud of it. We have close to 25%, and I think the number's going up, and they do a great job. There are no better builders than we have in New York, and a big percentage of that is Black and minority folks.
Think of the Black jobs he created. And I know this was a guy I know by the name of Ernie Drew Jarvis, who is the grandson of Charles Drew. And we're out of Black History Month. I don't have time. Go look him up. He's a very famous Black man, Charles Drew. He worked for Trump for a little bit. He was working in 40 Wall Street with the Jackson people and met some Trump folks and worked with Trump and never heard the end of it from his Morehouse brothers. But nevertheless, it's just been my life experience that racists don't do that kind of thing, what Trump has done. And it's also been my life experience that racists don't turn racist. Unless something dramatic happens in your life. I once knew a colleague who got raped by a Black man, and she became a racist. She thought that all Black people were evil and blah, blah, blah. But unless something like that, it's all about the home. Our education, our character, what we believe, I believe, primarily comes from the home. And that's where you, I think, learn the evils of domestic violence, of even trafficking, and of the evil of racism. I've seen people escape. I had a young friend whose father was the living, breathing Archie Bunker. And Gary showed some signs of following in his dad's footsteps, but I think by high school, he kind of broke away from that and understood that his dad was an absolute living moron. But and again, for Black people, I'm not saying that Trump hasn't done racist things, but I think you could make a damn good argument, as crazy as this may sound, that as president of the United States, he's actually done more for Black people. I don't know if I'd go as far as Abraham Lincoln, because you got to kind of stop at Lyndon Johnson and the Civil Rights Movement, the Voting Rights Act, et cetera, and the war on poverty, which was interrupted by Vietnam. But as we say, what did Barack Obama do for Black people? Make your case. Tell me how he changed your world. This guy reached out to HBCUs. He reached out to, and remember, this is in the 90s. This is past. You know, Jesse in 1988 buried any presidential hopes and started going after businesses and the economics of Black society. And so, being in New York, he knew smartly to turn down Trump, and Trump was there for him. Racists just don't do that. Quick time out, last half hour of the broadcast. I would stick around if I you.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump says the war against Iran may be short-lived, despite the country's selection of a new hardline supreme leader to oversee the fight for the Islamic theocracy's survival. Trump made the comments Monday at a news conference, but moments later he hinted that the worst fighting could still be ahead as he threatened intensified action if Iran made any attempt to stop the globe's oil supply. A court complaint says two men who brought explosives to a protest outside New York City's mayoral mansion said they were inspired by the Islamic State extremist group. Emir Balat and Ibrahim Qayyumi are being held without bail. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 239 points, the S&P up by 56. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
A crime scene outside the Long Branch Saloon just after midnight Saturday in Oildale was a fatal shooting, say Kern County deputies, and investigators are now looking for 27-year-old Stephen Quick. He's described as 6'1", 165 pounds. He has blonde hair and blue eyes. Two people are missing in Bakersfield. One is 68-year-old Victor Lopez, a man confined to a motorized wheelchair who has medical issues, last seen Saturday morning at the Lowe's on Colony Street. Another is 17-year-old Julian Torres, who is also considered at risk because of injuries to both of his hands. He was last seen Friday night just after 7:30 in the area of Columbus Street near University. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use it if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
A couple of tartar sauce.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Tuesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton show. We will break down the ongoing battles in Iran. What should we anticipate? Plus, we'll begin to pivot our attention to North Carolina, where Michael Watley will join us to talk about the big Senate race there. Plus,
take a look at what the White House has in store for us on the economy. Some big moves in the future. We'll talk about it on Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, I think.
Yep.
As some of you have probably concluded, I stumbled into a best of the 70s thing. So I just like picked off each little song from the 70s. That's where I got In the Summertime When the Weather's Fine. That's where I got Neil Sedaka. Ooh, I hear laughter in the rain. God, that is bad. That is really, really bad. But I just had a ball. Just had a ball. I had a pretty good weekend. Started off with dinner with the genius, Mr. Agbalag, and Mr. Arieh joined us. And you would have been proud of me, Chris, because I was hell-bent on having a big old slice of prime rib with a big fat potato. And I said, no, my doctor's appointment's coming up. Relax. And then I did something really, really stupid. I went and bought water. What was this, Sunday? I went and chipped balls and stuff. And then I went and bought water. And they had Hershey bars 2 for $1. I had to do it. 2 for $1? The Hershey's with the nuts. And you know how I rationalize it, rationalize it. It's dark chocolate, which is supposed to be good for your blood pressure, not good for my A1C. And I got to take a blood test this week, which is about as dumb a thing as I could. But I've been so good. I did have a sandwich today with wheat bread. I'm supposed to have no carbs. But I did not have a baked potato Friday night. Okay, I did have the mashed potatoes. But I had fish. I had the cod. It was really, really good. And I ate all my vegetables. It's not like I'm 13 years old. But I did. I ate all my vegetables. I had a good time. It was fun. And then Saturday, and I overslept Sunday. I didn't get to play golf. Saturday, cleaned up the kitchen, mopped my floor. I put on my old golf socks, which reminds me, I need a new pair of socks because I used my current pair. And I was just going to buy them Sunday because I was going to play Sunday. And Mark didn't get back to me like 5 o'clock in the morning because I called him, texted him Saturday saying, what time are you guys playing? And I didn't hear from him that night. And I went to bed at like 1, 2, and I was like, I'm not getting up there. They did change the time because I was just going to go out there like 7:30, and they were just teeing off at 7:30. And I don't like to hit a lot of balls, but I like to hit like a dozen. I don't want my first swing to be my first swing. You know what I'm saying? So I like to just hit like a couple of wedges, a couple of 7-irons, a couple of 5-woods, and a couple of drivers. But I woke up at 7:30 and they had already teed off. So I was like, damn, I really wanted to play. I didn't play at all this weekend. And our tournament is 2 weeks from today, by the way. And it looks like I'm playing. So I'd like to play well. So I'm definitely playing. I know Mr. Turnipseed wants to play this weekend because he's playing in the tournament. And so I guess I'll play with him. Chris Zucchini is he's a member there, but he's too snooty to play on punched greens. They just punched him about 2 weeks ago, so they should be perfect when we get out there. Plus, it's good that we play after we punch them because if not, we would follow the BC Open, where they get them to a stint number of about 13, which, just to give you some sense of what that means, pro greens are about 13, 14. The Masters, the really U.S. Opens, and normally BC runs at about 11 or 12. I mean, they're fast. And then the issue with BCC is not just that they're fast, that even when they're slow, they're hard to control because just about every green slants from back to front. I mean, you can hit, I've hit shots on 14 that have hit the middle of the green. And if you don't catch the ridge on the right, it can roll off the green, right off the green. And then it picks up momentum and you can't even putt it. It falls so far past the green. But it's going to be a great time. Go to honorflightopen.com and be a part of this thing. Help us fund Honor Flight, I think the finest charitable organization in town, which funds the veterans to go back and see their memorials each year. And they go twice a year. I think the next one is probably in April, I'm guessing. I don't think they go as far as May, but it's gorgeous. That's the trip you really want to be on, to be honest with you. The second trip is a little bit cooler, not bad, in the 50s, but I'm an old man, so anything in the 50s is freezing to me. But the April trip in the spring, when the cherry blossoms are blooming and the temperatures are in the 60s and 70s, DC is a fun place to be when it's beautiful. It really is. And just the trip is just, you guys hear me salivate about it all the time. It is a life-changing trip for these guys, just emotionally, let alone what they get to see, roaming around the House of Representatives, rolling through the rotunda, seeing all the statues. And then that day culminates, doesn't really culminate because we still got stuff to do, but part of that day is spent actually sitting in the U.S. House of Representatives, sitting where the Democrats wouldn't get off their arse during the State of the Union. And when you sit in there, I've done it, I think, 3 or 4 times. At least for me, as a guy who considers himself a pseudo-historian, it just takes my breath away. It absolutely takes my breath away. And I always do the same thing. I always go up to the lectern and I stand there and I say to myself, Franklin Roosevelt stood here on December 7th in 1941 and declared war. Declared war. And just the men and women that have been in that building and the history of that building, it's awesome. It really is. And it changed these guys' lives. And not every honor flight gets that pleasure. We have the luxury of having one of the more powerful congressmen that started the routine, and that was Kevin McCarthy. And then when he became speaker, we literally got to go up to the, I have a picture on Facebook of me at the speaker's balcony. And now David Lauderdale, why do I always go back to my editor at the Hilton Head Island Packet? David Valdeo and Vince Vaughn now take over the tour. They were both present when we were in the house. You get to ask them questions, and Vince will run you through the history of the house. But it's going to be a fun tournament, as I mentioned earlier in the show. Jeff Salter is providing lunch, and Cassie Biddle is providing tacos and stuff to eat afterwards. And the first round is on me. In the meantime, 842-5376-842-KERN. People are beginning to expose Gavin Newsom. This is why I am absolutely his biggest cheerleader for being the 28th presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. We'll begin with Joe Rogan, who is starting to get involved in some of these elections and starting to voice his opinion on just how badly California is run.
Gavin Newsom vetoed a bill that would do an audit of where the $24 billion to the homeless went.
Well, if their goal was to create more homeless with that money, they did a great job.
They did a great job.
They did a fantastic job.
The crazy thing is they're literally incentivized to have more homeless because the more
Right.
homeless people they have, the more money they get.
Goes. Yep.
Which is what? And then you see the salaries of the people that are working on it. Colion Noir, my friend, this Second Amendment advocate who's a lawyer, he was the first guy to tell me about that because he's a lawyer and he was in San Francisco. And he was like, why is there so many homeless people here? It's like, do they need more money? Like, is it? And his friend, who is a lawyer, goes, no. This whole thing is a racket. The more homeless people you have, the more you have to fund the homeless initiative. And then you have this entire ecosystem that's built around the homeless.
Right. And it's just money's going to executives.
Millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
In California, $24 billion. Okay, David Spade was talking about it. This really happened. He blocked bills for an audit multiple times. Bipartisan bill AB 2903 unanimously passed 72-0 in the Assembly, 40-0 in the Senate, and would have forced annual public reports on where the money went.
But they covered it up. If that's not the epitome of graft, I don't know what is. Meantime, Steve Hilton, who is the leading gubernatorial candidate, and I think is almost assured a spot in the general election. It's just a matter of can we get Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco over the goal line and assure us one way or the other whether these two men like each other or not, where we could get the both of them on the ballot in June and absolutely assure ourselves in a wide variety of Democrats on the ticket with 8 different candidates siphoning off votes from one another. Could it be possible that we get 2 Republicans on the general election and assuring us a Republican governor? Here's Steve Hilton chronicling just again the foibles and errors and ineptitude of Gavin Newsom.
the biggest driver of the high cost of living is Democrat policies. They've been in power for 16 years. Who else is there to blame? If you add up the average budget for the rest of the country and compare it to the average household budget here in California, here's the difference. $35,000 a year. That is how much the average Californian is paying extra just for Democrat policies. You can look up your own if you like. We did a website just so you can calculate it. CaliforniaDemTax.com. See how much they're charging you. Here's what I'll do on day one. I announced the first one last week. Vehicle registration. Everywhere else in the country, pretty much, it's under $100 a year to renew your registration. Here, $600, $700, $1,000. Some people paying over $2,000. That's because they're charging all these extra fees that go into their bottomless money pit. On day one, I will cap vehicle registration at the flat fee of $71.
Mr. Hilton, thank you, candidate.
Hell,
Thank you.
that promise alone could get him elected. Remember, that's partly what drove Gray Davis out. Remember that huge jump? And Arnold went out and said, I promise you the very first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the high registration costs. But listen to this. Listen to Katie Couric. She's with Gavin Newsom, but it doesn't matter what Newsom says. I think he comes in at the end. But listen to Katie Couric break down the remarkable stats in California that I bet many of you weren't even aware of. Check this out.
California has the highest tax rate, the highest poverty rate.
I thought we established that was a good
Well,
thing.
maybe it's not so good for for everyone, right?
No.
The highest poverty rate, tied with Louisiana, the highest unemployment, and as Nick Kristof of the New York Times recently wrote, Mississippi schools outperform California schools, especially for poor kids.
Watch.
Did you just hear that? Have you not heard the message that I've given you? There are two states you don't want to grow up in, Mississippi and Alabama. And Mississippi is outdoing us educationally. That we're ranking with Louisiana. We are right at the bottom. We are losing generations of kids here in the state of California. And you should hear his comeback that we're the fourth largest economy in the world and blah, blah, blah. Who gives a damn? Who gives a damn if we're graduating children who can't read and can't count? Who gives a damn if we had 41 refineries and now we have 9? We're in the middle of a war. And at some point, my mother's Uber is going to have to pay $7 or $8 to put in this tank to get her around Los Angeles. Kathy's right. God, I wish he was running for a third term because we'd finally break through. We would finally win. But I think the stench of this guy is going to elevate either Hilton or Bianco. I really do. I know it sounds crazy, and I still believe there's a 20% chance that both of them could be on because I think even maybe not liberal Democrats, but moderate Democrats have had enough. Moderate Democrats have absolutely had enough with the gas taxes and the new mileage tax and the hiding of the signing a bill that will hide how they're spending money on the homeless. When we spent $24 billion. And is there anybody out there that thinks that it's remotely improved? We just keep throwing money at this situation, locally, on a county level, on a state level, and even on a national level. And I think Steve Hilton makes a lot of sense that we've got to examine. Are you telling me there's no fraud involved when there's $24 billion? And I had some more audio. Maybe I'll play it when we come back because we do have to take our final break. But there's more evidence that he lied. Remember when he came to Wasco and said, we're beginning to lay the tracks? That was an absolute lie. I am going to play that audio when we come back. Absolute lie. And remember what he was lying about. He was lying about starting laying tracks for that ever-desired trip to Merced. You know, that famous Bakersfield to Merced sojourn that we all want to go on? We all want to spend, what, 90, 120, maybe $150 round trip to take a train to Merced? And the Merced people certainly want to come here. Yeah, no. Good Googling, Mowgli. Unbelievable. Let's go ahead and take our final break of the night. Tomorrow's a Tuesday. Our former federal magistrate judge, Teresa Golder, will join us as per usual. We'll get you the latest on Iran. God, it's so nice to go home with blue skies. Isn't that incredible? I might even get in the front yard and ship around my front yard until my Uber Eats. Oh, no, I'm going to Coconut Joe's tonight. We got fish and chips tonight for the kid. Final break of the night. Keep it locked. Scott Jennings coming up at the top of the hour. One of my favorite podcast and radio announcers. Keep it locked. Check out Scott. He's very, very good. He's often on CNN. He is the sober voice on Cable News Network. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180, KERN, where we stream live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Next Armstrong and Getty Show, an update on everything happening in the conflict with Iran, plus left-wing activist groups teaching people to lie their way onto juries, then let the scumbags go.
And we're learning more about that ISIS-inspired terrorist attack in New York. They were really hoping to kill and hurt a lot of people. That's a bad one. We'll have all...
Whenever you're ready.
God dang it. I always lose your head, Reg. Three, two. So Jesse Jackson Jr., a disgraced Congress member who was thrown out because, I don't know, he went to prison, just lambast. No. 3, 2. So Jesse Jackson Jr., a disgraced congressman who was thrown out because he had to go to prison for a little bit, just absolutely tore up Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Bill Clinton, claiming that they didn't know his dad and they politicized the celebration of life on Friday. But the reality is the Jacksons and the Obamas have never gotten along. And the fact that it was Obama's DOJ that prosecuted Jesse Jackson Jr. and literally sent him to prison may have had something to do with it. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Tuesday TRBS. It's a Tuesday. So our former federal magistrate judge, Teresa Golder, will join us. Plus the latest local news, the latest on Iran, and me at 3. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I'll see you at 3.
Free at Lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo. This month at Affordable Dentures and Implants, we're standing with our heroes, the brave men and women who've worn our nation's uniform and defended our freedom.
Hi, this is Dr. Nozar Tarkesh, and right now, through March, we are offering 20% off all services and free upgrades for any denture packages. This is for every veterans or active military with ID who comes in to get implants or dentures, because your sacrifice deserves more than just words. We love you, we appreciate you, and may God bless America.
So if you're a veteran, don't wait any longer. This special offer is only available through the end of the month. Come in and receive 20% off all services and free upgrades for any denture packages. This is for every veteran or active military with ID who comes in to get implants or dentures. Whether it's dentures, implants, or a smile you thought you'd lost, now is the time to take that step. Visit AffordableDentures.com to schedule an appointment today, or visit us on the corner of Coffee and Truxton. Affordable Dentures and Implants, that's what we do. The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
That is out of sight. Come on, everybody sing with it. Dancing in the moonlight, everybody be I don't know what was better, the 70s or the 80s. I was a young adult. I was a young adult in the 80s, but I had the misconception that I was an athlete in the 70s, which made it pretty cool. Made it really cool. And then we had rivals. Flint Ridge Prep was our absolute rival. And then one of the best young events that I ever had, I left the Buckley School in Sherman Oaks in 10th grade. And I transferred to the Brentwood School. And I was one of the caveats that the Brentwood School, because my experience in Brentwood was horrible. It was one of the worst decisions I ever made. But I followed one of the smartest guys that I knew, who said we'd have a hard time getting to college based on what was going on at the school that we just went from. I'm not going to bore you with the whole thing, but I was assured, because we were transferring scholastically, academically, that I'd be able to play football in my junior season. And we petitioned the CIF, and they said no. They were really strict about that. And we could have lied. I could have easily lied and given somebody else's address and said it was because we were moving, which we did later that year. The year before my senior year, we moved to the South Bay. But one of the greatest things that ever happened to me is that I did get to play basketball that year, and we played in the Buckley tournament, where I got to go back to my old high school and play in the gym that they built the year that I left. And we got to play Buckley. I got to play against one of my best friends, Brett Aylis. And it's like I was a different human being. I couldn't throw a pea in the ocean. I was a point guard. I passed the ball. I was a pretty good passer. I had a really good handle because I could use my left hand. I could lay up. I had a little left-handed hook that I'd kill guys on when we played horse. But I couldn't throw a pea in the ocean. I had 24 points the night we played Buckley. From the tip, I literally hit the first shot. It tipped it to me. I took 2 steps up and hit a jump shot. And I looked over at Coach Selleck, and he was like, just went like this, like, go, do what you do. Who you got, Chris?
Cindy's on the line for you.
Cindy, are you really going to end my show by calling in? Really? I was just about to go have dinner and maybe a little cocktail and rest easy.
Yeah.
How can I help you? You got about 3 minutes. Not even.
Yeah, I was just trying to, I should have called you earlier, but I was just, anyway, that thing about Trump not being a
Speak into the phone. We can't hear you.
I said that thing about Trump not being a white supremacist, to me, that's just so weird, the things you say, while ignoring the things that make him a white supremacist.
Well, how do you explain his working so closely with Jesse and trying to promote black people throughout the 90s? And how do you explain the work that he did with the HBCUs? And how do you explain, I'm giving you a question. How do you explain his work in the 90s? How do you explain what he did with HBCUs, which Barack Obama never did? How do you explain the work that he did with Kim Kardashian to get a black woman out of prison? How do you explain the criminal reform that he's done that was beyond any other president? Does that sound like a racist to you?
Yes, it does, because he's done so many other things that overshadow that. You can separate stuff that you need to do as opposed to what your inner feelings are.
And that's seriously, Cindy. Seriously, let me ask you a question. That's been, just stop for a second. That's been your experience with racists? That sometimes they do good things? Wait, just listen to me. This is why we always fight. This is my show, and I get to speak. And you don't when I speak. Has it been your experience as a black woman that you've known racists that have done positive things for black people and negative things for black people? That's been your experience as a black person on this planet?
Yeah.
Okay, well, well, we grew up differently, because I've never seen a racist do a nice thing for a black person. Never in my 63 years of life have I seen a racist try to economically help black people. But if that's been your experience here in Bakersfield, go with God. And I have to go because my dinner's waiting on me. And tomorrow, our former federal magistrate judge, Teresa Golden, will be here live in studio. And we'll give you the latest on what's going on with Iran. And there's some other local issues that will pop up before 3:05 tomorrow. But want to thank Greg Kerr. Check him out on ESPN 1230 from noon to 2. And, of course, I think he's on television like in a couple of minutes and at 6 o'clock as well. I think so. Pretty sure. For like a couple decades, actually. Like damn near 4 decades. In the meantime, I got to get out of here. For Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. And I will rap to you tomorrow.
This is AM 1180 KERN. Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump on Monday touted the success of the military as the U.S. enters its second week of strikes in Iran amid soaring oil prices and gas prices as a result.
We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further. But the big risk on that war has been over for 3 days. We wiped them out in the first 2 days.
But moments later, he hinted that the worst fighting could still be ahead as he threatened intensified action if Iran made any attempt to stop the globe's oil supply. There has been some pain at the pump where gasoline prices have shot up 40 to 50 cents a gallon over the past week. Catherine Price Engelhardt at the gas pump in Morrisville, Pennsylvania, says she can't afford for prices to go up.
It was about $30 last week, and I stopped at 8 gallons or 9 gallons, no, 8 gallons because I couldn't afford to fill up my tank. I'm also secure.
New York City police are investigating whether men who brought improvised explosive devices to a protest outside New York City's mayoral residence were inspired by ISIS. Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch.
At this time, we do not have any information that connects this investigation to what's going on overseas in Iran.
A court complaint says 2 men who brought explosives to a protest outside New York City's mayoral mansion said they were inspired by the Islamic State extremist group. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 239 points. The NASDAQ rose 308. More at townhall.com.
A Social Security update. 70 million Americans collect Social Security benefits today, and millions more will join soon. Now, a new study finds 70% of Americans don't get the full benefits they deserve. But recipients can use simple strategies to boost Social Security benefits by as much as $188,000 over a lifetime. Social Security expert Michael Allen says it's true and reveals 5 key strategies to increase your benefits. It's all in his free special report. Newsmax calls the report your best guide for bigger Social Security benefits.